2019 Overwatch World Cup kicked off with 33 countries.
Unbelievable! France takes Route 66.
Over 231 players fighting for the opportunity to be called the best in the world.
This is going to be it. If they're not careful, France now with space takes control of the
Friday
game.
saw some fierce competition
Now, this might be the end of Canada's run. It's all gone wrong, man. It's all.
as teams battled it out in the group stage to see who would be advancing to the playoffs.
Choi, the flux, one time and just rock Sinatra.
Now, only 6 nations remain on the final day of BlizzCon 2019.
The United States, they 3-0 South Korea.
Will South Korea defend their throne and become the 4-time champion? Or will the United States, China, and the rest of the world have the honor of taking home the gold?
Carpe somehow managed to turn this fight around. Could he possibly do it?
Carpe with 2 and 3!
It's about to go down. Raise your flags. The 2019 Overwatch World Cup playoff starts right now.
Yo, what's up, BlizzCon? My name is Zoe, and I have the utmost pleasure of being your host for the 2019 Overwatch World Cup playoffs. We've seen some incredible Overwatch over the past couple of days, but today we're gonna raise the stakes. With only 6 teams remaining, by the end of today, we will be crowning your World Cup champions. Are you guys ready for this? That was the only answer I would have accepted. Now, before we get into the action, I would like to extend a special shout out and a big thank you to everyone who has been traveling across the globe to get here this week. So please give a warm welcome. Please make some noise for all the teams which participated in the 2019 Overwatch World Cup. Huge thank you to all the players, coaches, GMs, community leads, you name it, who joined us and helped make this year's World Cup happen. We've seen so much passion from so many different communities all over the world. We had 33 teams presenting their home countries, their regions this week. And the most we've ever had at BlizzCon, actually. So we've seen 40 matches played on over 100 maps by all of these wonderful players from across the globe. We started the action on Thursday with the opening rounds, and on Friday we were down to 10 teams competing in 2 groups, with the top 6 advancing to this very stage today. Let's hear it one more time for all of your 2019 Overwatch World Cup teams. What an amazing fight they put up. But now it's time to meet your top 6. Please make some noise for the underdog story of this tournament, Team Netherlands. Next up, I want to hear a warm welcome to the three-time reigning World Cup champions in South Korea! As they say back home, avec le 6, make some noise, give it up for Team France! They punch their ways into the playoffs and into our hearts with some impeccable Doomfist plays. Please give it up for Team Denmark. They conquered Group B and they're looking to take home gold today. It's Team China! And last but certainly not least, the top team in Group A. They almost need no introduction, but make some noise. It's the United States of America. BlizzCon, make some noise for our Final 6! The 2019 Overwatch World Cup playoffs start right now, so let's send it over to our casters for the first match of the day. It's CP and Avast.
Thank you, Zoe. What fantastic support we've seen from teams all around the world. A lot of community effort going into bringing the teams here, and it has been a fantastic weekend of Overwatch so far.
4 teams that we've ever seen before here at BlizzCon. We've seen some dark horse candidates make it to our final 6. Denmark, Netherlands, incredible. France, the first team to ever take a win off of South Korea. They have some very passionate fans here in the crowd, and I can't be more excited.
It's been ridiculous. Every Overwatch World Cup has its crazy storylines, the things you don't expect, the teams that rise up, and 2019, it has been no exception to the rule.
It has been incredible for all the teams here. I have loved seeing the passion, all the communities bringing them here. Even if they didn't make it out of the prelims, they're so happy to just be here at BlizzCon and competing, showing what they have for their region, for their teams.
And at the end of it, the Overwatch World Cup, it is a celebration of all things Overwatch. But now we're here in the final day, and the bracket is upon us. 6 teams remain. And you see it right in front of you here. And the format for today, quite simple. It is first to 3 across the board. All the maps predetermined. And we will find out who your medalist will be in just a few short matches.
Denmark, South Korea, going to be a very exciting match coming up here, ZP. I think that Denmark has shown that they have what it takes to compete at the top level. South Korea struggling a bit in the group stages compared to what we've seen in the past. It's anyone's game.
And the problem is that even South Korea, even though they've been wounded in a way that they've never been wounded before here in this program, they are the 3-time gold medalists, and they are a team that anyone should look at and think they can rally. They can still make a deep run. But Denmark, they've been resurgent, a team that came very close to getting to BlizzCon last year. They have delivered this year.
Denmark really resurgent this year. South Korea, like we said, struggling a bit in the group stage. We're now going to be seeing all these players here. Architect, been a force on the May. And South Korea seems to be playing some pocket strategies, as we saw in the group stage. We have been playing what we've seen a lot of the Reaper Doom, a lot more of Carpe on the Hanzo, Architect on the May, a lot of Batiste as well from IDK. It's been a very interesting comp coming out from them.
And I think the scary thing here when you look at the South Korean team is that they have been off the meta. They've been effective to a degree while off the meta, where it wasn't quite enough versus USA. But there's a world where they can run things like Reaper and Doom to a degree that we have not seen before. This is a team where I still think we might not have seen their full potential just yet.
And for Denmark, I think we have some huge stars when we look at all the importance of Doom and the importance of the Halt Punch combos. Henriksen, Fischer on HSL together. Henriksen in particular, it's a huge year for him, being on HSL, winning EU contenders, going to the gauntlet, now here at BlizzCon in the top 6. Denmark is not to be underestimated. Their deadliness with that Doom, with the Halt combo has been very, very potent.
Also a fantastic story for Fischer, where Fischer has had a performance out of his mind all tournament long, but now comes the greatest test. Imagine what it means for these players from Denmark if they could rise up and beat what many thought until just a day ago to be undefeatable South Korea.
A storyline for the ages here, and something that we have never seen before if it does happen. I'm just unbelievably hyped. I'm unbelievably hyped, ZP. I do. It's tough to see, but I have that little, I'm getting really excited.
I thought you were just cold.
No, I'm not cold. Not this time. Generally, you're the one that, you're very fine, and I'm the cold one. I'm used to the Texas weather. But today, we're in the very nice, sunny California weather, though we are inside.
We're inside, but we are going to be ready to go soon. Denmark right now setting up, and this is going to be very interesting. First map that we're going to be looking at is going to be Lijiang Tower, and just seeing how Control plays out, seeing just how the teams come in here today, it might set the tone directly off map 1.
And remember, Assault is back in the map pool today, and we did not see it at all in the group stage. And it could be something that South Korea in the past has always been very strong at. It requires a lot of the coordination, a lot on that ult economy, and maybe some points where Denmark can falter because it relies so much on their big pop-off playmaking potential to where the long game, the strategy, maybe can really be there to beat it.
No doubt about it, and that goes back in Overwatch lore where going all the way back to 2016 when Western teams went over to Korea to compete in tournaments, they found out very quickly this is a game mode that Korea is very adept at. But you see the full map list in front of you. We're going to be starting things out on Lijiang, moving over the Blizzard world, going to Junkertown, and then if necessary, full Sky and Oasis away.
Lijiang going to be our first map, going to be Control. And Lijiang is a map we've seen a lot of interesting strats come out on. We've seen some explosive turnarounds for teams that we thought were never going to be able to get a win at BlizzCon, whether it be the prelims or here in the group stages and now moving into the final day. And it could keep it up, could keep that streak up going forward with Denmark versus South Korea.
It's going to be very interesting. And I think probably the most interesting of all is going to be what composition does South Korea roll out with here. The first match of the day about to underway, and this is going to be good.
South Korea looking like they're going to use the fast roll-up strat, putting Carpe onto the Symmetra, much the same for Shaxx on Denmark. So both teams looking to get the mid as quick as possible. And that's Architect on the Doomfist, I see. They might be rolling out here with the Reaper. I think Carpe is going to teleport them out, swap to the Reaper, and Shadow step forward. They're not, there's no Hanzo. There's no May to be found.
There's no Hanzo, but there is a Reaper. For a moment, Carpe went, wait, maybe the Kree? Not quite yet. Already, Architect. A little bit of danger. Eats the rock to begin with. Going back to the rest of his team. Trading out. Down he goes. Shaxx with the first elimination in favor of Denmark. And Denmark going to try to pile on here. 6-on-5. Good HP. South Korea, they might need to back up a bit.
Fissure finding another, continuing to go deep. Kellick's going to pick up Choi. And Denmark, they've won the first mid-fight. They're going to get first control. And that is such an important pick onto Architect early because when the Doom is removed in those ult-neutral fights, there's no pick potential.
We try not to assume too much off the first fight. But what an early opening for Denmark here. South Korea perhaps continuing to struggle.
South Korea going to be in green, dropping that coalescent scalar. Putting in return, Fisher about to commit with the Meteor Strike.
Fisher moving on in, Meteor Strike ready, going to the heart of the South Korean team, all the way to back. Architect down on the other side. Shax will defend himself, and Fisher finishes off Mono. Denmark continues to hold.
And that ult economy advantage for Fisher in particular with the Meteor Strike, picking up Architect so early in the previous fight, means he could commit deep with that Meteor Strike, go in, go aggressive, get those early kills.
Denmark, 35%, 2 fights won here so far. South Korea still looking to build up their ult banks. Flux ready for Choi.
Denmark moving in, but Shax finding Carpe early.
Carpe didn't check the corner. Shax was right there. Immediately removes him from the fight. What is going on?
What a good hiding spot there for Shax. Carpe was looking to TP in aggressively and is just not looking at all behind him. Shax gonna back up here. Denmark's gonna regroup, and South Korea already down 60% in that control bank.
My mind is starting to get slowly more and more blown here. It's just round 1. But Denmark is proving that the hype is real. They are playing so well against South Korea right now.
Denmark gonna look to be very aggressive. They're holding this room tight. The Flux about to come out from Olympic. There it is. The beat gonna be answered by IDK.
Flux gonna be used early. South Korea responding with the barrier. Denmark getting awfully low. And Denmark, they use the supercharger. They still want to try and win here. Carpe gonna dust the Death Blossom. Fisher down. And South Korea slowly grinding this fight in their favor.
And that was a good answer now for South Korea. They're gonna get the reflip here. They're gonna get the recontrol, but look at the control bank. Denmark, all they need to do is win one more fight. South Korea luckily not investing too much in that fight. They will still have the Meteor Strike. They will still have the supercharger. But Denmark, they just need to play one push, and it's all ego fight here.
Denmark's in a very good position. They can bank up ultimates. They don't need to win the next fight. They don't need to win the one after that. They can take their time. Meanwhile, South Korea must be perfect.
Architect trying to get a pick here on the flank. They're committing deep. Mono supercharger already taken down by Shax.
Architect going for the Meteor Strike. Just going back to his team. Waiting to go for the other. Doomfist goes on in. Misses. Denmark. Fisher can't get away. But Shax back on the other side. It's 5-on-5. Choi gets a little bit done with the Flux of South Korea. Holding behind the Orisa barrier. Denmark out of offensive options, and they simply need to back out.
Great reads for South Korea. We saw Fisher commit deep, and Architect decides, I'm just going to come back. I'm going to do the counter Meteor Strike, force you away. And then Choi Oben, knowing that Kelly's not going to have to beat, pops it there to peel for his team. Very good ult economy for South Korea. Denmark, they just need to win one fight, though. They're building up towards all those ults.
For Denmark, execution on that fight is going to be crucial. They don't need to win this one, but they might need to lose it fast if it's going against them. And they're going to go Coalescence for Coalescence, but Architect starts out the bang. Shaq's already down. And South Korea, they have brought things almost back to even.
Beautiful rotation from South Korea. They commit deep into the main while Denmark are rotating towards that right flank. They know that they're weak there, and they go super aggressive and get the early picks.
72% to 93. Denmark, they did not save quite as much as you might think. They're going to have the Death Blossom and Barrier coming into the next fight.
South Korea here going forward, finding Shax and Molpic so early.
That was a great supercharger. South Korea, unchecked aggression, moving forward. Denmark, they are running out of time. Only 13% left, and can they even get back to the point?
They have ults, but they're going to need to swap the stall heroes. They need to go fast. They need to touch, and South Korea is going to be waiting for them. They have ults ready. Carpe, Architect, they're just going to be looking to feast on the back line.
And they're going to need Molp to move on forward. Trigger overtime. They've done overtime, but what more can they do? South Korea, South Barrier out early. Shaq's already down. Carpe to the back. Death Blossom doing even more. South Korea, they rally and they take the round.
And South Korea, they look to be asleep here in the beginning, but they have awoken. Going to take this first round, continuing into the first map here of Lijiang, as they're just cleaning up those kills on the point.
South Korea, it was a slow start. It was very impressive from Denmark, but South Korea at no point was panicked. They waited, they played intelligently, came in with an advantage, took the point, and never let it go.
Very smart play, conservative play from South Korea. They made sure for when Denmark was overcommitting, trying to get those picks with Fissure and with Shax, they were punishing them. And then once Denmark was like, okay, we need to play a little bit more passive, that's when they started going aggressive. That's when they take it all the space that they needed, having those very aggressive rotations. South Korea up 1-0 now on Lijiang.
But for Denmark, they showed flashes of their potential, what we've been seeing all tournament long. So far, this has not appeared to be an easy road for South Korea. And we'll see how this next early fight goes where, again, South Korea, they are playing the meta.
It's a mirror comp for both these squads. Looking for the Hulk punches a little early. The accretion's flying. No one getting caught just yet.
Architect pulling in many from Denmark. A great engage. And Henningsen and Danger both can't stay alive. And Denmark down one in South Korea. Starting to walk all over Denmark.
Denmark still looking for an answer, but not finding it. Needing to back up. The first mid going the way of South Korea. Henningsen will get a halt for Troyobin off the map, but it's not enough. The first flip going to go for them. They'll have the coalescence available.
Denmark, they have to pick themselves up after that one, and the key there, Architect just got insane value.
Denmark going here from this right flank, going to be rotating in. Looking to find an answer, looking to find entry into the point. South Korea likely just going to go for the Hulk coalescence. Architect going to go in very aggressive with his meteor strike.
Coalescence trade out early. Fisher, though, able to strike in the back. Choi down. Architect looking to even the score. Meteor strike. Looking around, looking for the Moira. Dives on in. Does not connect. Fisher down. It's 5-on-4. Denmark trying to hang in there. Both teams starting to trade out. The scary part is, though, Architect still in here. Cooldown's back up. Looking for a punch. Swing and a miss. Moving forward. And Denmark with the supercharger now really starting to push South Korea out.
Oh, and Kellex with 2. There was still hope for South Korea to turn that fight if they'd played a little bit slower, but Architect committing, trying to kill the supercharger. IDK is going to finish it off, but now it's all stall for South Korea. Denmark, they've gotten the flips.
Denmark, it took them quite a while to move in here. And South Korea, they're still stalling. The stall finally ends, but when the dust is cleared, South Korea's at 53%.
South Korea holding on to the supercharger for this next fight. Both tangles going to be available. Kellex needs to hold the beat. You don't want to use it too aggressively here. And Denmark looking like they want to deny this rotation for South Korea. They don't want them to enter from this flank. Carpe going to TP in, going to look for the flank itself.
Denmark is charged up. The main thing is you don't want to give up a Doomfist pick here. Carpe, though, got some back to block some Moira. Their healing is completely decimated as Carpe does even more. Gets on and over. Fisher with the meteor strike, tries to bring it back. Wolf is in there. Denmark still a bit bleeding. Shax goes for the Death Blossom. In the middle of the white room, Denmark starting to fight this back, and then Shax gets 2.
Shax still alive, getting the pocket. Shax getting the return frags. It's Bedosian and Mono versus the world. They're trying to get here onto the point.
And this is okay for Denmark. They can still delay for a while, but Kellex gets caught in the Hulk, puts him out of position. And Shax just walks forward. Shax is still around. Moira's back over to the point. The coalescence is out. And Denmark maintains control.
But they still want to commit. South Korea gonna come back in here. They might use the meteor strike. They shouldn't. They should back up. They should regroup. Troyobin gonna go off the map. And South Korea not finding their gambit working, even with that aggressive flank from Carpe.
Denmark had to burn everything they had, but it was worth it.
Denmark pretty low on the ults for this upcoming fight. South Korea's got a lot in their bank. They should be able to just go aggressive with the Flux. They know Kellex doesn't have beat. They can even just set up Architect with the meteor strike and the halt. They have a lot of options here.
This fight, though, Denmark needs to be further back. Henningsen taking a lot of damage, and Cole finishes him with Carpe, and Architect giving the cherry on top.
And that's going to be the fight win for South Korea. Maybe a little bit of an overinvestment, I have to say. Coalescence, meteor strike, and the Flux used. That's a lot considering Denmark had no ults on the board. Their aggressive defense forcing way too many out of South Korea.
It was really smart play from Denmark. It puts them a leg up in the economy game. They're going to get at least 2 fights if they are fast. So the goal for Denmark here, build 3 ultimates, move in if possible.
South Korea looking to hold close. IDK trying to set up the boot, not catch anyone, getting hit by Fisher.
Big risk, big reward, and that was the risk coming to bear. Fisher punishing IDK. Denmark on the 6-on-5, powering through the white room right now. Fisher, meteor strike, takes out the supercharger, connects on the other side, and Denmark's gonna retake.
There's the coalescence out, the supercharger out for Henningsen and Denmark. They've gotten the flip. South Korea, there's no one alive.
South Korea in real danger. Can they even trigger overtime? Are we going to be going to a round 3? Overtime in progress, but IDK just gets completely squashed.
And that is going to be tying it up. Denmark, South Korea, 1-1 on Lijiang. Denmark not going down without a fight.
Denmark just showing us that they have improved since last year. We saw it all throughout the tournament play, leading into this. And now they are even with South Korea of all teams as we move into a definitive round 3 here on map 1.
But this is still a very different South Korea than we saw yesterday. They're playing completely different comps. They're playing what is considered much more meta composition now with this Reaper Doom. It could be just a strategic choice, you know, the sandbag, as they say, for the group stages.
Curse word is what I'm going to say there.
Very cursed word.
So now we move to the night market, and we'll see if Denmark can continue the fairy tale story, or if South Korea will crush their hopes.
Denmark, South Korea just going to be doing here with the shield. Fisher getting halted, the punch comes out. Much better counterpunch for Architect.
Really nice coordination between Architect and Mono. Saying this stage, Architect now at his leisure, moving in, punch after punch. The cleanup goes in favor of South Korea.
And Architect just plowing through them. Excellent play, good coordination with Mono's halt there. They were waiting for Fisher to go aggressive. When there's no ults on the field, it's on the Doomfist, they'll a lot of times get that early pick. And Architect's just waiting for Fisher to go in.
So South Korea going to get first control in the round. Denmark going to have to look for a way back in, and losing first here in night market, that can be a little bit tricky.
Coalescence going to be available for both teams, but look at Architect's ult charge. Even though they have that coal, once the coal is popped, Architect can go for the meteor strike, can look to immediately eliminate Scalar. South Korea is going to play around the point.
And South Korea wastes no time. They simply dive into Denmark. You blink and the team fight's over.
Architect not even having to invest that meteor strike either. They're trying to get the stagger kill a little bit late. There's the orb. Fisher is going to go down. South Korea, 33% on the board, going up.
Not only is this good control for South Korea, but they're also going to be in a good spot ult-wise. Denmark simply has not built up much over the course of the last few fights.
This is still a very favored South Korea fight. It's going to be on Shax, it's going to be on Fisher to get an early pick to open it up.
Architect is waiting on the high ground now, deciding to rotate around. Denmark taking a lot of time to get back here. Time that I don't think they necessarily have. But Fisher finds IDK! Now it's up to South Korea to respond. Architect, meteor strike, moving on board. Carpe and Scalar, but Fisher finds Choi. Carpe though, off on the other side. Death Blossoms into the backline. And between Carpe and Architect, they have held for South Korea for a time. But now they have to deal with Shax. Architect back on the point. And South Korea's fine.
And Shax and Fisher, they tried to open it up. They tried to find the value, but South Korea just far too strong, far too many ults on the field. And finally, Denmark has equalized ZP. They need to win this next fight, though. If they do not win this fight, that's the map. First map gonna go to South Korea. Denmark must flip.
Final opportunity for Denmark to take map number 1. They don't have a lot of tools to rely on here. Choi, we have the flux, the beat, used by Denmark. Have dealt the supercharger. Well, Lessons pressure still coming in, and Shax gets caught. Was going for Mono in the back. Gets focus fire down, and they can't get on the point! South Korea takes map 1.
What an impressive defense from South Korea there. They were aggressive that final round of Lijiang, and Shax and Fisher could not find any value. They were never able to get the picks that they needed. Choi was watching, he was waiting, and we've seen the value of those signals, those very good signals that are always mitigating the damage with the shield, with the kinetic grab.
For Sigma, the really top-in-class Sigmas, they simply support the team in a way that you don't see from others, protecting the backline, landing accretions onto a Doomfist that's trying to disrupt things. But all in all, what a start to the day. We still have so much Overwatch to go. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more action at you.
The 2019 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch World Cup. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch World Cup.
Last 2 years, represent France is a huge honor for us.
Là où personne ne nous voit.
When esport was recognized in the US or in Korea, it wasn't in France.
Unbelievable! 3 now for Soon!
It's not represented in team, it's represented in nation, and there's a ton of people watching you because they are French and they want us to win.
BlizzCon 2019 is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of BlizzCon. Facebook Gaming, a world of play. Corsair, do your thing. And by NVIDIA.
What a way to start off the Overwatch World Cup here on Playoff Saturday. South Korea, map 1 over Denmark, but Denmark, they put up a fight.
Denmark making it very close here so far. South Korea, this is a very different South Korea than we saw yesterday. They've come alive. They look like the team we'd expect.
And they're running what many people consider to be the meta right now. And what is the meta? It's a lot of Doomfist, it's a lot of Reaper. South Korea, they were not running that in the group stages yesterday, but now it sort of feels like they're showing their true form. And even still, Denmark fought them tooth and nail.
Fisher and Henningsen still being that deadly duo with those halt punches, getting a lot of value out of them consistently. They're fighting them on all fronts. South Korea looking to take it home though. They know they want to win. We've seen them win multiple times before here at Overwatch World Cup.
Quite simply, they are not a team you count out. But you know who else you don't count out? T-Mobile. For those of you at home, T-Mobile wants you, the fans, to help decide this year's Overwatch World Cup Most Valuable Player. Once the semifinal matches begin later today, you can vote for the T-Mobile MVP by using either the Twitch overlay or Twitter with hashtag T-Mobile MVP in your player's battle tag. And be sure to keep up with all the Overwatch World Cup action with T-Mobile, whose network now reaches farther than ever before.
I'm a big fan of T-Mobile myself. They're the MVP for me.
I know, it's your carrier.
I get free Wi-Fi and flights.
I know, you brag about it to me all the time.
It's very nice.
I'm jealous. But that's why I've also switched to T-Mobile.
Well, welcome to the club.
But now, we have to get ready to head into the next map. But before that, we do have a substitution, and that is Haxel. He has entered the arena.
We haven't seen much of Haxel so far during the World Cup, and he decided to come out now on Saturday on this final day. Carpe going to be subbed out, which is interesting when you think about that. Haxel, traditionally, been a much more projectile-oriented player, while Carpe been a little bit more on the hit scan, playing a lot of the Reaper, playing a lot of the Hanzo, heroes like that for South Korea.
We didn't see him in a lot of key matches yesterday, but now that he's entered the arena, it just feels like South Korea is using every weapon at their disposal because, hey, it's elimination time.
And we do have some Sigma stats here for you, and I have to say the narrative that we were seeing throughout all the time is that Choi is a monster, ZP. Choi, even when South Korea has been struggling, he is so good on Sigma.
That was really the trend all throughout the group stages where, hey, South Korea, they're having a tough time, but man, is Choi good. And hey, type of player that might win an Overwatch League championship, you know?
Yeah, perhaps, just maybe. He's always there where you need mitigating the damage, doing more damage right now than Molfik as well. He's building that ult so quickly. Choi is just so incredibly talented on every off-tank that he plays.
And that's just something that's really been defining Overwatch in this patch, which is that if you have a great Sigma, if you have a Sigma that is outplaying the Sigma on the other team, you have put yourself in a great position because Sigma's one of the key heroes that really defines how well a team can play. And the other hero, of course, Doom.
Doom also going to be that playmaker. But for Choi, it's just the role of Sigma is you deny the value for DPS. You deny the Reaper. You deny the Doom. You're hitting them with the creations. You're making sure they're not getting any damage in. And Choi is doing that excellently. And while still putting out insane amounts of damage.
He's been the most consistent part of the South Korean team so far. And now that the rest of South Korea is playing things that we know to be a little bit more powerful right now in this patch, now that the pressure is on players that have shown over and over again throughout their careers to shine under the pressure, it makes South Korea very scary.
He's just, I mean, he won Overwatch League. I mean, what can he say? He won Overwatch League. He's really, really good. Denmark, though, they're no slouches either. And they're keeping it very close.
Again, for Denmark, their storyline has been incredible where if you roll back time to the Overwatch World Cup in 2018, they were one map away from getting to BlizzCon. They looked very impressive against the likes of China. And the reality is that there's a lot of talent on this Denmark team, and I honestly think it's a meta that also really empowers them right now, especially for players like Fisher that just go wild on the Doomfist.
It just allows you to pop off. It's the pop-off potential, and both Shaxx and Fisher recognize that when you're on Reaper and Doom respectively.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Connie.
That's some accident. I can help you file a claim on the State Farm app.
My insurance app doesn't do that.
Indeed. Let's split a cab to the car.
Every superhero has an origin story. We all gotta start somewhere. For us, it was the U.S. Air Force.
The tension building in the arena as we wait for map 2 to begin. Just a few tech things being worked on right now, but soon it will be underway. But while we wait for that, that means that we're gonna have a real special treat for everyone at home.
It's a special treat that I know we're all gonna enjoy it because I enjoy it, and it's always nice to see them. And who am I talking about, DP?
Well, we're talking about the very own, the Overwatch World Cup test. The zaniness gonna begin now.
Welcome back, everyone, to the greatest disaster on the internet. It's the Four Heads Podcast.
No, Alex.
Yes, the wrong. What?
This isn't the
Where am I? Where am I?
This is the Overwatch World Cup 2019 desk.
You old senile boomer.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. They couldn't afford to put Pocket or Malik on the desk, so we got you again for the second year in a row.
Well, you know,
We're going to have to carry this bad boy one more time.
you know, it's as they say, things happen.
That is what they say.
They
Is
say
that the most poetic thing you have to say?
That is the most poetic thing I had to say. You know, you and I were working together yesterday, all right, and I carried your Swedish behind, so you better calm down.
Absolutely not.
I watched
that
a
was a
little bit of
glorious
that.
show.
Yeah, I mean, you were good. You, on the other hand.
And cracked a runny egg. I'll never
I'm
let
not
that
gonna
one.
lie as well. Did you not get the memo? Why are you wearing a suit?
Because why not? You know, you show up fancy.
No. Listen.
It's BlizzCon, right? You got to show up fancy for BlizzCon. That's the whole thing. That's the whole bit.
Also, I mean, I gotta detract some points as well. You guys are in like kind of matching floral shirts almost as well.
Floral gang,
like,
baby.
Right next to each other.
I just took some
Floral
fashion
gang.
advice from Uber. Come on, man. Give me a
Floral
break.
gang.
You just left.
No, I'm not gonna high five you.
High five him, Johnny.
No, I'm not doing
High
that.
five the man.
Do I have to?
Go on, boy,
He's a
please.
boomer. Do I have to?
10.
Oh, Good, thank you.
Okay, there we go.
I got you. There we go.
Unbelievable.
Hey, shout out to Coca-Cola, huh?
Yeah.
Already?
This was sponsored. Do
we want to run a T-Mobile ad while we're at it?
Yeah, hey, by the way, ZP, good job on the T-Mobile thing. You did a good job,
you nailed
kid.
it. Yeah, you actually did.
But you ain't no golden boy. Moving forward, though, we did get to see one round of a video game. Let's talk about this and what ended up happening. One map.
Yeah.
But was that enough? This is the question, all right? Because as we're watching the game, Josh looks me in the windows of my soul, and he tells me South Korea is going to lose.
I actually,
and then they didn't.
Right. Well, I'd like to defend myself here because
you going to change your prediction?
I did not say.
Are you
South Korea were going to
backtracking?
lose.
Are you swapping to South Korea?
What I said was that we need to be prepared for an eventuality in which Denmark win against South Korea, because I think it's possible. And what you saw on that first map is that Denmark are actually enough of quality to be able to take rounds and to potentially win against South Korea.
You're officially predicting Denmark.
I'm not officially predicting
That's an official
Denmark.
prediction, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first.
Wow, unbelievable.
Listen, I'm going to sound like a genius when South Korea get knocked out before they've even had an opportunity to face the United States in the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Okay, here's my prediction as well. I mean, given what we've seen of South Korea so far, we're looking a little bit shaky. This is not the South Korea that has won the 3 times back-to-back World Cups. Okay? They were hunting for that 4th gold medal.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been going their way thus far.
Fair enough.
So, and right now, this is a prime opportunity for the US. They've already knocked them out. I said knocked them out. They've already beaten them once so far this tournament. And now they're looking like they're getting set up once again for a position, assuming they beat Denmark.
Well, it deserves to be said as well that now they're actually playing meta. Yesterday, they played so much Roadhog. Now they're actually playing Sigma. So South Korea are looking scary still.
Real quick before we throw it back to the casters, just want to say, while Josh was on his spiel and all that stuff, he happens to have a Denmark flag right on his desk. So I think that he's kind of joshing us all because his name's Josh. You get it? All right, we're moving on. We're going to send it back to the casters. The game's starting here, and we'll see you in just a little bit.
That was a pretty good segment, but no one chugged maple syrup. What's going on? Have you guys lost your touch? I expect more.
I mean, everyone's been chugging honey instead because we've all been trying to keep our voices alive here. And don't let Sideshow don't let him backpedal from his. He predicted Denmark. Hold him to it. Don't let him backpedal.
No, exactly right. You have to make sure that Sideshow owns his predictions. That's how it goes.
I mean, his predictions do generally get owned. So that is fair.
Well, we're going to be heading into Blizzard World, and this is where Denmark is going to look to rally. This is a 1st to 3, but you don't want to get down into the hole where you have to reverse sweep simply to stay alive. And remember, this is single elimination. If you lose now, you go home.
Denmark going to be on this defense first. They're running the May Reaper here, CP. So they want to hold close. They want to get the isolation, the splits with the May wall from Fisher, and just finish them off with Shax.
South Korea may or may not be on the Sombra. Depends if Architect is scouting. Very likely to be more of a scouting play. And Denmark going to be looking for more isolation. And Haxel, they're done scouting, and that is a Pharah out to play.
Oh, they're busting it out. They want Haxel to get above those shields. They want Architect to take the high ground. They just want to get around the shield. They don't even want to take the shield war.
Haxel over the top, playing in rockets. Denmark stuck in the corner, getting booped away. Haxel under a little bit of pressure, goes down, but not before taking down the main tank of Denmark.
Oh, Troy getting frozen, being the old battery. He's going to get cleaned up. Haxel will get rezzed. But still, this is pretty good for Denmark. They're getting the kills they need. They're holding strong, but they are down Henningsen. They need to back up.
And that's all right for South Korea, where even though they haven't gotten the point yet, they forced Denmark to change the location of battle.
South Korea waiting for those respawns. Architect forcing that ice block very early from Fisher. They might be able to capitalize on that. Haxel getting close to the barrage. We need to watch the barrage for Haxel right now. This could be the fight opener.
Haxel very, very close, and now they're going to be chasing out Shax. Shax's out of position, but he'll back up. Meanwhile, Haxel, 90%. Very, very close to the barrage in South Korea. They're going to play off it. You have to be keeping an eye on Haxel here. The nano is up. The nano boost is used, and there's the barrage to the back. Haxel strikes for 3.
And that was and Molfik, he needed to be watching for that. They need to know that Haxel was having the barrage. I called it earlier. This is going to be the fight opener. This is going to be the fight winner. And that's exactly what they did. Great coordination from South Korea. And Denmark need to be watching for the Haxel Vera. It's too strong.
Extremely clean. South Korea knew their win condition. They waited for the nano. They waited for the barrage and used both perfectly on the way in.
South Korea, Mono going very deep here, very aggressive, trying to take this high ground, but Denmark, they're going to deny them the high ground early. They put Shax onto the Widow now. But Hogdrill says, I'm just going to go Mei. No more Pharah available anymore, keeping Architect still on that Hanzo.
And in the game of Hero Chess, it's not really easy for Shax to swap, so Shax is stuck on the Widow for at least one life.
There's the good news, though, that he can dual Architect in these sight lines. Going to be taking some of those shots, an early wall for both these squads, moving forward. You have to watch Choi, though, looking for the flank here on the Hog, looking for those hooks.
Shax in the back, had eyes on the main tank, unable to finish off. Meanwhile, Kelix chases down Bedosin as Denmark striking first in the fight. South Korea have to back up a bit, down a significant amount of healing, and Denmark says, we're actually going to chase you down as Denmark takes the first fight of the map.
Yo, Choi's on vacation. Choi's on vacation for this. He's going to drop the Hog anyways. He's probably going to be swapping, but he was in the back the entire time looking for the hook. He sees the ult comes out, and he's just like, okay, bye, and he runs the other way, and then comes back in.
Well, sometimes you channel your inner Harp from back in the day, the extreme flanking Roadhog. Didn't quite work out this time.
Architect now. Swapping to the Reaper. Shax still staying on this Widow because they haven't had the time to swap just yet. Denmark having a good fight there. They need to be careful for this upcoming fight because South Korea are just going to look to isolate the front line for Denmark, pick them off with the walls, with Architect on the Reaper.
Tough for South Korea to engage right now. The Infra sight is up, which means you have to be very careful moving around, especially with the Widow in reserve. Or the Infra sight about to be down, but not before Shax finds Architect. Architect tried the challenge, got punished for it.
And with Architect down, South Korea, they're going to be tough to, it's going to be really tough for them to even commit here in this fight. They don't have a lot of damage. They don't have the Reaper, but luckily for them, the spawns are very close.
Blessings up here for Scalar. Denmark gonna get to work. It's Cole versus Cole. Denmark moving forward off the Supercharger. Trying to get value off it. South Korea again drop the Supercharger a little bit later in the fight. They're gonna have the poke advantage. Denmark, they have to drop the barrier just to stay in the fight. And now they try and push forward, but Shax got caught in the back. Architect worked his way back, and now he's gonna be going to the main part of the fight. The flux used. Denmark completely picked apart.
Yeah, they're going to find Architect, but still very close to the spawn roll to be back quickly. And a great engagement South Korea. They had the ult available in time. They just played it slow because Shax is on Widow for the large part of that fight. And as soon as he's gone, the pick potential is removed for Denmark. They have so many shields in his face. He just is not getting the same amount of damage that Architect was at all.
Not quite, but one good thing for the Denmark defense, even though they lost that fight, think about the amount of time they burned off as South Korea was adjusting to deal with it.
2 minutes on the clock. Choi does have the flux. This is the free flux for Choi. All he has to do is just get it out early, but you have to remember that Fisher is going to be looking for this Blizzard, looking to lock down all of South Korea.
Choi's waiting for it right now. Here comes the flux. Shax is already taking out Mono, so this flux needs to be big. Fisher dropped the Blizzard in the middle of South Korea, and he got quite a bit from that. Denmark getting the better of South Korea once more.
And IDK was hoping to save all this team with that beat, but Choi was behind the shield. He was out of LOS. He couldn't get the beat. It's a wasted beat now, and a lot of ults invested for South Korea. More time off the clock, only a minute 30 left.
This has been a deceptively good defense from Denmark. There haven't been many fights, but part of that is because of Denmark's positioning.
South Korea, they will have the Blizzard. They will have that Death Blossom. So 2 ults on the field for them, none for Denmark. They just need to go aggressive. They need to look for this push.
Architect was going to the top, Death Blossom in mind, and oh! Wolf getting caught on the bottom. 6-on-4 for South Korea, and Denmark, they need to get out.
Good engage there. Shax actually picking up Mono. That's a huge pick. That is a huge pick if they don't want to go back and commit the TV, but they were capping the entire time. They weren't on point at all. Very good Blizzard there for Haxel. They didn't overinvest, and now South Korea a little less than 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Denmark, though, can still put up a good defense if they hold South Korea here at point C. South Korea working with a cool 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Plenty of time for them.
Denmark likely going to look disengaged with the Death Blossom, with the Supercharger going to be here on the corner. Going to try to send them in early, but South Korea is going to have one of their own. It's going to be a battle of the Supercharged Beyblades.
Supercharger up for Denmark. Shax diving on through, gets Haxel, and the rest of Denmark following.
Much quicker engage there for Denmark. The name of the game is aggression. And Denmark, they remember the name. Making a quick Fort Minor reference there.
Very good. Denmark gonna be holding back here. About a minute 40 left. South Korea, that only gives them about 2 good attempts.
South Korea coming in. They do have that Supercharger. The flux going to be used. Put them all in the air above the shield, but the beat's available. They're not going to pick up anyone.
South Korea investing a lot into this fight. Architect going forward with all the support. Denmark, though, you see Shax in the back dealt with Haxel. It's still going to go away to South Korea, but it's another fight that burns off time.
Shogun is going to have this beat, but stagger kills. Just stagger after stagger. South Korea moving forward, but you are correct. Gonna be a minute left on the clock. Good stall for Denmark. Kellex needs to save this beat. Needs to save this beat for Choi. South Korea gonna be looking to force it very early. Looking to remove that beat so they can set up Choi.
We'll see if they can get the beat out before the flux, but I think Choi is just going to open the flux, does just that. The beat from Kellex comes out very early. Denmark not taking any chances. Now you have to wonder, where is Fisher? Fisher's been quiet the last few fights. Shaq's already low. Fisher in danger, gets hit by the rocket. Fisher's down. Choi completely decimates Fisher.
Choi opening it up, going for that flank on the left side, getting around the shield, hitting the accretion. You see the coalescence traded, but this is a lot of damage, a pick advantage for South Korea.
Choi leading the way for South Korea. The rest of South Korea making well advantage of Fisher being down. And South Korea going to finish with some time left on the clock.
Give me 6 Chois. If I'm South Korea, I'm investing in the cloning facilities. I'm cloning 6 Chois. I'm putting them on my team next year. I just want more Choi Ogun all the time.
What a fantastic player. And his Sigma play is really setting the tone right now for South Korea. And as we said, as we were setting up for this match, Sigma, arguably the most important hero on your team in this particular patch.
And players often forget, and something that's, when you're in the midst of the battle, when you're in the midst of the fight, yes, you're playing off tank, but Sigma does a lot of damage, and Choi opens up that flank in that fight, goes around, hits the accretion, does so much damage to open it up.
Stop Fisher from doing anything.
Playing 5D chess, playing 4D, he's above 4D chess. He's in the next dimension. I don't even know how you can visualize that. I can barely visualize 4D.
I can't even visualize 3D sometimes. Look at how clumsy I am on an average day. But for Choi, what he's been doing is he's been making Fisher far less effective, and we were sort of looking at it, I was like, wait, it's been quiet for Fisher. I'm investigating what's going on, and what do we see as we're mid-sentence? Hit by a rock, down.
So South Korea finishing Blizzard World there. Denmark going to be on this offense. Look at this comp for South Korea. This is something we've been seeing them play a lot yesterday in the group stages. Look like they want to do it here again on their defense for Blizzard World. Going to play very slow, very pick heavy. Architect going to be trying to get around the shields, find those picks. Choi looking for the halt hooks. And Hoxel and IDK, their job to make sure that if they get rushed, they stay alive.
And I do think many, when they looked at South Korea yesterday, they went, Choi, why are you on the Roadhog? And I think to a degree, people are a little overly harsh on it. Choi's Roadhog, even in defeat, still had very good moments and still forced the opposition to play around the hook and respect Choi wherever he went.
It was the first time in almost a year, 2 years, that I've seen Nano Whole Hog do things. And Choi Open was making it work, getting picks all the time, as Hogsel going to find Fisher off that halt very early.
Problematic for Denmark, where it's an early pick, you're right by the spawn, but you look at the time overall, give South Korea a good 30-40 seconds.
Look how aggressive South Korea are holding on the high ground. They're waiting for Denmark to move in. Fisher is going to be needing to block this damage along with Wolfig, try to isolate the halt, make sure they cannot get them. And that's exactly what Fisher does. Good wall. You see where it's placed, they can't even poke.
Ball comes up, South Korea going to rotate around, so they'll concede the first part here. But of course, they're all completely healthy and ready to go, as Denmark takes a long time to really start this fight.
Another wall, there's a halt, they're rushing into the front line. Can Denmark clean them up? They can't.
They're moving on in, they're trying to focus down Mono, but Mono healed back up on the other side. The Immortality Field down for South Korea. Keeping it alive, but not for long! Mono pulled out and down, Shax with 2. And the Immortality Field not good enough.
Beautiful halt from Henriksen, followed up by Shax. They pull Mono out of the Immortality Field. He's isolated by the wall. Denmark playing their comp perfectly, denying IDK any chance to keep his team alive. And that's going to be first for Denmark.
I was going to wonder, does IDK stay on the Batiste after that as we move into point B? And the answer is yes, they're still going to save for the Amplification Matrix.
They're going to have Amp Matrix very soon, like you talked about. They're going to have the Halt Dragon as well. And remember, Kellex doesn't have beat. If this is a meaty Halt Dragon, then they can pick up 1, even 2 members of Denmark very early.
We'll see how it works. Architect waiting right now, Dragon Strike on the way. What's it going to do? Right down the middle of Denmark. Wolf getting very, very low, healed up. Lessons down from Scalar. And Wolf isolated once more. Got hit by a Rocket Architect on the finish.
Architect popping off. Just using that Amp Matrix. And that's the power of that Batiste ult. And South Korea, they're going to stay on this comp. They've held here. They have the Blizzard. They're going to have Nano Whole Hog. They're going to have a Supercharger soon. Very good for South Korea.
I'm just used to Choi throwing rocks, but he got hooked.
Fisher's going to be the man to watch. He's going to be the man to watch in this upcoming fight. If South Korea invests the supercharger, if they invest the nano, Fissure's Blizzard is the one that's going to be able to zone it, to move them away, to lock them down.
Denmark right now in a good ult situation. Whoa, the Bionade to the back for Purple. They have the barrier very early to stay alive as Molt takes down Architect. Molt looking for a bit more. Architect out of the fight. And Denmark, the Blizzard's huge. Back. The Blizzard saves them from what could have been a very tough engage, courtesy of the Bionade from Dosen.
And Denmark, they played it expertly. They can use their ults well to keep them alive, sustain through the fight, and then they just bunny hop them. Fissure, once everything had been committed, once the immortality field was out, then he drops that Blizzard, locks them in place.
So Denmark keeping the payload moving. 3 minutes, 18 seconds left. They can still set a quicker time than South Korea. What is South Korea going to be looking for on this next engage?
Ant Matrix. It's Ant Matrix time, it's Hulk, Dragon time, but not
time.
Shax is in!
Shax just steps forward, spins into South Korea, ends up with 4.
And Denmark, look at their time ping, CP. 4.5 minutes on the clock. A beautiful engage, aggression continuing out here from this country. South Korea on the ropes.
Choi moving back towards the Sigma. The age of Hog is over. And I still think this, despite the Hog having its moments, probably a better look for Choi.
Fissure now, swapping to do this himself. Mirror match for both these squads. Going to be moving here on the corner.
Waiting, they're setting up. Axel moving in on the Doom. Kind of alluded too much to Molt from the back. Meanwhile, they're going in again. Axel diving over, still decent, gets a punch against the wall. Henningsen out of the fight early, but Axel gives his life for it in Denmark. They're still gonna try and commit. Holy cold.
Right here for both teams. They're waiting for the halts, they're waiting for a combo. They need to keep Architect alive here for South Korea, but they're working against the spawn advantage. Denmark, their players are gonna be back very soon.
And that's a problem for South Korea. That's where South Korea needs to start backing out a bit. Waiting for a full 6. Heavy pressure moving on in. Mono super low. And Shax chasing down. Kills Bedosa. He's trying to heal Mono. And that is huge for Denmark.
Denmark moving forward. They're building up their goals. And what a great fight for them there. They force Architect's Wraithborn very early. They make sure he can't engage. And then they go in. Now Denmark on the cart. Ult's going to be available. IDK will have the beat from Wolfix Flux though. So likely going to just trade in this next fight.
Denmark saying an incredibly quick pace here on Blizzard World. Much faster than South Korea, a round to go, but they still have to finish out the round. Opening up with the Flux, but Henningsen down early. South Korea really investing in this fight. They use the barrier, the meteor strike. They simply want Denmark down.
Haxel going deep, finding them all. Great engage for South Korea. They've stabilized here. They've stopped the cart from moving, and most importantly, they've equalized the ult bank. They have the resources needed to keep up this defense.
More than equal, I would argue. A bit of an advantage to South Korea and Denmark that could have set a blazingly fast time right around the 3-minute mark. Now probably going to be lucky to get in at a minute 30.
Haxel hiding up top. Flux going to be out. Coming with the beat. South Korea just need to back up.
Beat up to Denmark. Where's Fissure going? Still mid-meteor strike. His Architect just fights Shax. Off of the Iron Architect. Taking flight. Scum in the middle. They'll rotate around, but Denmark working down players, and they must retreat.
Despite the beautiful walk from Wolfix there. Still too much damage for South Korea. The supercharger was already out. A lot of ults invested for them, though. Denmark, coming into this next fight, they do have the supercharger. They do have the Death Blossom, something we've seen a lot of combos with. And it's going to be on Haxel, the one, to use that meteor strike to remove the supercharger from the field.
Denmark setting up once more, a minute 30 left remaining, and now finishing out the round itself. A bit in question. See Death Blossom being used. Shax takes on IDK. Shax takes a little bit more into the back, but Haxel, the equalizer, back on the other side, ends up with 4. Haxel keeping South Korea in the fight, despite how Shax started it out.
Haxel playing it perfectly, ZP. And he did exactly what was necessary, getting the early pick, using the meteor strike to zone them, to remove the supercharger from the field. Denmark down in ults. Only a minute left on the bank. They need to get this next push going if they want to even equalize the time banks.
This is really problematic for Denmark. They were far ahead, but Pointy Blizzard World can be hard to crack once you get behind. South Korea opening up early Colossus. Denmark in danger. Shax getting heavily pressured by Choi. Now Denmark, they recovered. They've used their call. They're moving in. South Korea fighting tooth and nail. Both teams still poking back and forth, but Fissure gets Mono. Gets to the back, and Denmark, they're not quite done yet.
Oh, great pick though. Architect finding Fisher. He's gonna have to come back. South Korea, they don't want to get staggered. IDK committing the beat just to keep his team alive.
Well, they dropped the beat early, but they weren't aware of the flex. Mole ready to capitalize on that. And Denmark, now they have a real opportunity, keeping the payload moving forward. Can they finish with time remaining?
Denmark on the cart. They have Supercharger. They're gonna have Death Blossom. Beat is up. They have all the ults they need to finish this out.
They're waiting for it, South Korea. Just so they can get back onto the cart. South Korea moving up and over. Fisher dominating out of the spawn. Doesn't let South Korea set up at all. And that's going to be Fisher putting an end to the South Korean defense here. We're going to go to the extra round.
Denmark, they're still in it. The aggression coming out. The plays coming out. Fisher coming alive.
This series continues to be incredibly close. And map 2, it's not even over yet. We're going to go to a quick break. And when we come back, the conclusion here on BlizzCon. Just a quick breather, but we are back in. South Korea working with a marginal time bank advantage over Denmark, which can make the difference. It could mean one extra push for point A. But if Denmark is able to take point A on their first attack, the time bank doesn't really matter much.
No, then we're in snowball mode. And that's just not May's funny little robot sidekick. That is also the condition they'll be in because they have to worry about the fact they've lost the first fight. The ults are going to be rolling in. It all comes down to this burst push for Denmark.
Now remember, Denmark's first push was good, but it took them a while. They really played a position game of South Korea. They're going to have to be far more aggressive in extra rounds than they were at the start of regulation time.
Look how aggressive South Korea are holding right here on the choke. They don't want to give any free space to Denmark. Denmark, seeing this, putting Fisher now onto the Doomfist. They're going to rotate around them. You're going to go underneath them. South Korea, they need to realize this. Are they going to meet them?
South Korea, they are well aware. They are meeting them directly at the doorway. And now Denmark, 30 seconds left. They can't waste much time. And oh, there's the split Maxwell dropping the wall. South Korea trying to smother Denmark here and now, but Denmark, so for now, sustaining. Shaq's able to get healed back up. South Korea trying to chase down. Both teams closing out, but Scalar's down. There's no more healing for Denmark. And South Korea dropping the goal. Denmark, look at their health. They're getting whittled down on all sides. And this is looking like a first point hold for South Korea.
Fisher gonna go down. This is gonna be the first point hold for South Korea, 100%. And a beautiful aggressive defense there. The walls coming out were so aggressive. Doing a firefighter cosplay there, just spraying everyone with the ice, with that little bit of that ice breeze. Very well played from South Korea. They've denied any ticks, denied any chance for Denmark to do anything better than tie the map.
And it was a bit of a tense moment there because you look at how that fight developed. South Korea also to a degree exposing themselves to getting fully wiped if that went badly. So they were opening up to the possibility of a snowball only if they lost, which they did.
Do or die. It was a do or die scenario for them, and they did.
Now, Denmark got 0 progress on the point, which means the best they can do here would be a draw. Minute 23 though, not impossible.
No, that is not a lot of time. The only advantage for South Korea is that they do get maybe 2 pushes now. They can't have a very long first fight, but they do have the potential to lose a fight and take 1 more.
Attackers incoming.
Of course, what that mean for the overall series would mean South Korea would be up 2-0 over Denmark. Denmark would not be eliminated, but they would have to win 3 in a row. However, should they hold here, it will be as if Blizzard World never happened. We just simply vanish it out of existence.
We snap it.
It's gone.
South Korea now gonna be on the offense, gonna be putting Architect on the Sombra to get a look for the scout. Denmark gonna hold close here again. They're gonna do a similar strategy, ZP.
And the good thing for South Korea, they have time to go for scouting. That extra 23 seconds helping quite a bit.
They're pulling it out. Hog coming out. There's Hanzo, there's Farah. They're playing for picks. They're playing to get around the shield.
Now remember how this ended the last time. South Korea built up barrage. Nano, Denmark holding at the same early spot that South Korea forced them back from. But
They can just go to point. Axel can just sit on point. They need to rotate.
This moving over. Oh, no. Denmark, you gotta get back in time. Denmark having to rotate very quickly, but this opens up options for South Korea. Haxel with plenty of damage over the top. What intelligent gameplay.
And now South Korea are in. They've made it through the hardest part. You see the DPS Architect Haxel plane split here. The wall comes out. Can they find anyone?
Shax is down. Denmark very damaged now. The Bionates to the back. They are whittled down. Fisher needs to do something crazy, but Haxel just suffocating over the top. Rocket after rocket. Fisher is down. Denmark down their DPS, and the barrage is going to be the finisher. South Korea well on their way to finishing out Blizzard World and taking map 2.
Wait, South Korea, they may have overcommitted. Taylor gets 2. They overcommitted.
They got the rest off the Benoten. This rally by Denmark.
They did it.
They're coming back in. It's not over yet. South Korea still fighting. The healing down for South Korea. Here comes Mono. Drops the supercharger. Denmark still in it. Architect on the point. Architect takes down Kellex. They're fighting back forth. This is back in. Denmark. They're actually going to hold.
And here comes Haxel punch immediately out. Can they touch? Can anyone touch for South Korea?
They're waiting for it. It's still in progress. Overtime. But now they're hoping for the miracle. South Korea trying to flood back in. Haxel goes down. Down goes IDK. And Blizzard World. It didn't happen at all. It's a draw.
Unbelievable from Denmark. South Korea were overconfident. Haxel wasted the barrage. It didn't catch anyone. They thought they had it won. And Denmark pulled it out.
What an unbelievable turn of events. South Korea was working with an enormous damage. You would have thought it would have been enough. But now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, map 3.
BlizzCon 2019 is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. Intel, the official CPU partner of BlizzCon. Cisco, the official networking partner of BlizzCon. And by HyperX. We're all gamers. BlizzCon 2019 is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of BlizzCon. Facebook Gaming, a world of play. Corsair, do your thing. And by NVIDIA.
There's a lot of tournament in Korea. The level is high and there's a lot of players playing Overwatch.
South Korea is playing on a completely different level.
They have really solid players all around.
The strength of Team Korea is, of course, the mechanical skill.
Before quite yet, a player might take this as opportunity to go in lead. Where did he even go?
Previously, in the last few years, they were definitely ahead of the game. This year, I think we're definitely way closer, if not better.
And they have a ton of experience. It's not gonna be Korea probably because a lot of teams improve every year.
I mean, if they don't win the gold medal, then it has to be somebody else, right? Personally, Team USA is really, really strong.
I'm pretty sure like China step up, USA step up a lot. We're gonna see what's going on against the top 3 teams.
We'll see what happens.
미국을 많이 이기고 싶어요. 왜냐면은 이기고 좀 놀리고 싶습니다.
하나하나 격파하면서 올라갈 테니까 다들 긴장하셔야 될 것 같아요.
What a series this has been so far. A miracle comeback from Denmark at the very end of Blizzard World, just when you thought South Korea had done enough to put over the top. They go a little bit over aggressive, they kind of throw away most of the barrage, and they get punished.
Hubris. It was the hubris there. They thought they had it won, and they forgot the power of Coalescent Scalar, keeping them all of Denmark alive, getting 2 to 4 very important picks. All they needed was the barrage to get 1. Just 1, maybe even 2, but it completely just hits the hut. It was a wasted barrage from Hoxel. They just got way too confident.
And that means we move in the Junkertown, South Korea, up 1-0. Blizzard World, it's gone. Just does not matter. Neither team getting a point. It is 1st to 3, so we play until one team has gotten 3 map wins, which means we still have a lot of Overwatch left in this first match.
And we are going to be going into our next map. It is going to be Junkertown, our escort. And Junkertown is sort of a widow's playground. But I don't really see Carpe in South Korea. Carpe has not come back in, so I doubt we'll see a Widow, but Architect can play it if necessary. But both teams so far have been very confident, not really playing much hit scan, sticking with the Reaper Doom, with the Maid Reaper.
It's a big change up for South Korea relative to yesterday, where it was Carpe pretty much all the time. Haxel, though, looks good today for South Korea.
And now, South Korea going to be on this offense first. Denmark holding very aggressively. They're running the May Reaper, so they're going to be wanting to hold the doors, block off those chokes with the walls, split Mono or Choi from their backline.
And the goal here, it's not even just winning the first fight. It's burning time off the clock. It's making it so if you do lose, it takes a while. Denmark holding back. South Korea trying to push issue. Shax already quite low. Under pressure here in the back. Denmark going forward. Shax punishes Haxel. Able to find him as Denmark. They retreated a bit. They move back forward. And now at the advantage, Shax continues to get to work.
And most importantly for Denmark, not a single player was lost for them. They can continue to hold the doors aggressively. They don't have to back up and regroup. They can sit right where they are.
Denmark, the first fight is theirs. About to burn a full minute off the clock. South Korea, we'll see if they change anything up or they simply go again.
Early Coalescence for Scalar here. Denmark, they want to use it aggressively. They want to wait for the Hull to come out and then just drop that Coalescence, use the damage.
Denmark holding back over on the payload. Coalescence blocked around the gun. Ooh, Scalar in danger. Almost taking down the Coalescence though. He's healing himself back up. Denmark still in it. Kellex building up the beat mid fight. This could be a chance to use it here. Well, Denmark comes in and Kellex says it's time to go. Use the beat mid fight. Denmark moving back over to South Korea.
The wall.
Haxel on the back. What a save on the other side, and Haxel and Architect take down Denmark.
Beautiful wall coming out from Fissure, denying the meteor strike damage, but Architect was there. The Death Blossom comes out, but look at the time burned off the clock. Look at the ults used for South Korea just to get out of the spawn.
That was effective for Denmark. Remember, the entire goal was burning off time, even if they lost the first fight. Winning that to begin with, that was gravy.
We are seeing Architect here. This quick replay, once the wall's down, once the meteor strike's out, he's going to drop this Death Blossom, clean up the fight. That's a lot of cleanup.
Denmark on the way back out, still plenty of ults in reserve. Moving over the Blizzard Eden! Choi, the Maniac, gets over the Blizzard and does even more and drops the flux, takes down Kellex. Choi just dominating Denmark.
Shaq's gonna pick him up, but it is the end of the fight though. South Korea not even having to invest the supercharger. Choi, what more can you say? What more can you say about Choi Open that has not already been said?
Well, I'll say this, should South Korea beat Denmark and get to the semifinals, that's where, I know where my MVP vote would be going, the Team Mobile MVP vote.
Denmark, they want to recontest, they're coming in, the supercharger out from Otto, there's the return from Henningsen.
Shaq's right back in, and South Korea, they thought they might have had it, but the Death Blossom make it more in question. Haxel at the back, Meteor Strike deals with the supercharger, diving over, look for reason, down he goes! Scalar made coalescence in Denmark. This gritty defense coming out again.
Winnable for Denmark here. Fissure is alive, Kellogg close to beat, it's winnable.
It's very winnable, and you look at the time, South Korea, they're down to their final minute 15.
What a good re-engage there for Denmark. Managing to make it back just in time. The perfect taxi coming out from Kellex. They get to the point, and Fissure is counter-punching Haxel the entire fight, waiting for him to commit.
And you look at the ults between the two teams, I'd argue Denmark is in a better position right now. South Korea, they're completely drained.
South Korea going to be making this final approach. If they lose this fight now, this is last fight TV. They don't really have time for another good fight.
South Korea looking for an architect. Go big or go home. Teleport into back. Death Blossom ready. Moving forward. Fissure down. South Korea. Not quite enough just yet. Architect gives his life for it. Denmark still fine. The beat from Kellex kept him alive. And you see Scalar of the Coalescence once more. Pushing South Korea back. Still 5-on-5. Flex in from Wolf. Denmark loses Henningsen. And Choi a flex of his own. On the other side, there is no beat to deal with it. Denmark looking awfully low. But Fissure, he's back in town. And so is Haxel.
Haxel getting the punch, finding Fissure. South Korea, they're going to be turning in this final fight in the end. The end of time pick, and Haxel hopping off. Molpik just could not get any cleanup on that flux. It was a good flux. They just could not find any of the low targets.
For Denmark, though, yes, it's disappointing they did not hold on point A from their perspective. But you look at it now. They've still burned so much time off the clock. South Korea, they really have to make up time here on point B.
And they decided to go to the bunker strategy, protect the president here. Bedosian going over to the Batiste, Architect onto the Bastion.
They're waiting for it, Fissure, engaging up the high ground, focusing on Tomato, Immortality Field, now for Bedosian to start things out. Limits what Denmark can do, but guess what? Fissure found Architect. Got the main piece out of the South Korean team, and Fissure continuing to bounce around.
Bedosian dropping that Immortality Field just a little too early. IDK had already used the beat. They didn't need to overlayer those cooldowns. And without that Immortality Field, Fissure comes in, gets the damage that's necessary.
In South Korea, the Bastion experiment already over.
Oh, that was quick, and a wasted push where they just gave a bunch of ults to Denmark.
Denmark continuing to make South Korea fight for every inch of this payload. There's been a very aggressive defense thus far.
Denmark retreating to this high ground, looking for their next engage. They have both the portals ready. Likely just going to look to commit with the Coalescence very aggressively once they drop down.
Coalescence in from Scalar. Shax down early in the fight before the goal was really even in. And Denmark trying to make the best of a tough situation, but Henningsen super low. Can he get out?
Look at the tank.
He'll back over. Fissure living on life and death as you see Architect in off the flank. Scalar, Fissure down. South Korea going to take the fight.
Oh, a bit of an overcommittal there for Denmark. They thought they could win that fight. They even invested that early beat from Kellex, and in return, they didn't have it available for the flux from Trioben.
And now for Denmark, do they really have time for another good defense on point B, or do you just give this one up?
It's once again do or die. If you come out and you win it here, it's great. But if you lose this fight, then now you're going to be staggered deep into the last point. You're going to give up a lot of ult charge to South Korea. It looks like they might want to go for it.
They're so far back, they're deciding to go for it, but Shax has to go really deep, almost dies for the delay. But now Denmark, they're in. They have the flux. Shax uses Death Blossom. Still all right. Flux is over. Shax is down. Scalar out of it, and Denmark unable to make a good attempt at the defense.
Sure, they burned some time off the clock, but now they've given up the last, they've given up second. They gave more ults to Korea. Korea now can just move the cart forward here, take this high ground position, especially for Architect and Haxel, which is so important.
South Korea, a minute 30 left, and this is the classic Junkertown scenario where you feel like your back is against the wall, but every time you push forward and you hit point after point. Haxel down off the high ground, off the engage. Chasing it down. Molto was able to find Mono. Denmark still got a little bit better at that. As you see Hoxel going to the back, 4-on-4, both teams trading out, and Denmark, they're getting the better of it.
Getting the much better of it. Mono was out of position early in that fight, ZP. Choyobin, where are you going, bro? You need to go, you need to reset, don't want to get staggered, and he is getting staggered.
I mean, it's not just flanking Road Dogg at this point, it's flanking Sigma.
Denmark with a good re-engage there. They're going to have the beat. They're going to have Supercharger for this upcoming fight. Both ults are important because they want to survive Choyobin's flux. South Korea trying to get out of this choke. It's a brutal choke to get through, especially when Fisher is holding so close.
And Denmark, they decide to go a little bit more aggro. They drop the Supercharger in South Korea. They get low, and Haxel actually can't get away.
Oh, that's invested here. There's that counter Supercharger from Mono. A lot of damage, but Shax, he's finding pick after pick.
Both deeper and over, and Choi, he drops the flux late in the fight, but didn't really seem like the absolute best opportunity. Architect able to find Kelix off it, but South Korea trying to push through it. We're starting to get a little bit of success.
Oh, Choyobin once again coming up big, denying any chance for Shax to drop the Death Blossom, keeping him in check, hitting him with the accretion, but so much time burned off the claw.
Henningsen, the very infamous Orisa strategy there, buying time, shield against the wall.
It is indeed very infamous. Denmark, look at their own pick though. They have a lot here. Sure, they don't have the beat, but Choyobin does not have the flux. They can come back in, they can play slow with the flux, force it from IDK. They have the ult advantage. South Korea, Architect, Hoxel, they need to come up big.
Overtime in progress. Scalers starting out the coalescence. South Korea, Death Blossom beat. They missed a lot to start things off, but Denmark, they back out. Now Supercharger of their own. Henningsen can't disable, but Shax got to the back, and Shax, what a huge opportunity! Puts a dagger into the heart of South Korea here on the Sheltertown defense.
Shax waiting on the high ground, waiting for South Korea to commit to get two splits, and then falls onto the back line. Well played from Shax. And Denmark, they've stopped South Korea, but Junkertown is always a map that is a blessing to finish. Even good teams don't finish Junkertown very often.
Getting around that last bend and finishing out the map is not something you always see. It's a good defense from Denmark, one that really prioritized stalling on the objective. So even a loss was still a good loss. It does not mean that this is in the bag for them. It means that they have a clear victory condition, though, should they be able to push to the end.
Now the ball is in South Korea's court. They know their win condition. They don't have to even full cap. They just need to go a little bit further than what Denmark got. Or rather, I should say, Denmark just has to go a little bit further than what South Korea got. It's a long day.
It is a long day, and it's just getting started. This is match number 1.
It is. There's a lot of good Overwatch in store here at the World Cup.
We'll see how South Korea sets up as they move forward here. Denmark been playing very well so far. We'll see if their offense can do better than what we just saw from South Korea a round ago.
South Korea going to mirror what Denmark has been doing in their previous defense. They're going to hold very close to the doors, running this May Reaper, looking ultimately to just burn as much time off the clock as possible.
It comes down to that concept, right? There's a good loss and there's a bad loss. If you buy time while still falling on defense, it's a good one. But now we're starting out Denmark. How they get to, Fisher immediately sent back. Joy just says hello.
The wall trying to split them there, not going to catch anyone else. Denmark needs to reset, needs to wait for Fisher. Still plenty of time on the board. Now Denmark going to look to come back out. There's the shields, here comes the exit from spawn.
Sanctus moving in, Shax looking to get to the back. South Korea a bit on the retreat here. Denmark still decent HP. Shax going back to support his team, looking for the Lucio, IDK down, and Denmark now, they can just roll into South Korea.
Fisher knocking them up, Shax putting them down, and Fisher once again with a massive uppercut, with a massive commit there, displacing South Korea away from their shield. Some good time burned, but definitely not an ideal spot for South Korea to hold. They wanted a lot more time there.
And look, between the two teams, Denmark, they got through the early hold quicker. They're in a better ult position than South Korea was when South Korea eventually broke through. They're setting a quicker time.
South Korea re-entering this point here. The wall used Coalescence for Scalar. Can they catch anyone? Denmark, Fisher going deep.
Brosen, Coalescence in the back. Denmark, see Fisher getting out of the freeze, over. And bot diving in, catches Architect. Not bad from Fisher. Off on the other side, both Throws out, taken on down, 5-on-5. Fisher still a threat in the backfield. Shaq supporting Denmark in the front. The Blizzard from Haxel right now, it zones out to a degree, and Fisher simply getting caught on the other side.
But Ocean and IDK taking down Fisher there in the back line. Denmark, they have to regroup. They need to back up. They don't have their Doomfist right now. They're waiting for Shax as well to find a pick.
This is one of those long fights where it's over, but it's not really over. Denmark still continuing the poke, still continuing to keep up pressure. Down to about 2 minutes now for point A.
South Korea have to feel blessed now. They have to feel in a very good spot. Their ult bank ticking up. They've burned a lot of time. Denmark needing to come back here from the spawn. Shax needs to be careful. The Wraith already forced.
Denmark likely to open things up here with the Supercharger. It's going to be Supercharger v Supercharger. Molt, Flux on both sides. Everyone's in the sky. Everyone's dropping down. Both teams dropping the beat. And now, the ultimate straight out on both ends. Henningsen, though, he's been saving his Supercharger. If Denmark can wait a little bit, they can re-engage and have a big advantage.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're going to Supercharger, and they're going to drop the Coalescence. They hid from Mono Supercharger. They're walking in. They need to find someone here.
They're waiting for it. The Supercharger's down. They take down Mono. And here comes Shax, walking right forward. Now the line in his way. Shifts out of the rock. Heavy pressure on the toy. Going for the teleport. Death plus Brandon Architect. He struck first.
Architect and Hoxel coming up big. Shax, he was just getting the dance of the shields. He was getting the shield dance from Troy Oven. He was looking to use the Death Blossom, but Troy never let him. And then while that's going on, Architect and Hoxel commit onto the cart.
Now Denmark's in real trouble. Denmark was way ahead of South Korea at the start. Now they're far behind. Only 1 minute left.
You see Architect, while Shax is in the back line, while that Blizzard is out, just cleaning them up. Denmark, less than a minute left here on the board for them. They do have the ults available. Shax and Fisher, they need to come up big.
Ring on, poked him to him, but Henningsen takes on 90K. Fisher ends up falling as he was diving in. 5-on-5. Shax diving forward. Death Blossom completely mitigated. Choi was in his face.
Choi is the anti-fun police, not letting Shax get anything done. The Coalescence for Badoshan, keeping Denmark contained right now. But remember, Denmark, their spawns are close.
They'll get one more attempt, but Choi is just ruining the day of Denmark. Whether it be rocks, whether it be grass, he's everywhere.
Architect going to be taking that flint tool with Shax. There's the Flux from Treoven. Kellix has the beat though.
Beat up, final opportunity for Denmark. Fisher drops on down, IDK caught again, and the Blizzard need it for good measure. Molt, a great play on the other side.
And they've opened it up. Denmark, they finally got the picks they need. Shax getting the cleanup. Denmark moving forward, but so much time forgot the clock, CP.
Well, now it's really going to be equalized if they get in here, because remember, Denmark burned the time off the clock for South Korea on point A. But just as it was for South Korea, this puts so much pressure on Denmark to get through point B well. But South Korea, they're actually going to try and move in for the contest. Big risk. We'll see if there's a big reward. They go up the Flux. They drop the beat. Mono already down. Fisher's out of it. Denmark, they're really, really low on DPS threats. And South Korea, they're rolling right back in.
Choi, he blocks the damage, CP.
Shax, though, was still able to get Badoshan. Denmark keeping the pressure up. It's more even than Javan. Shax, what a hero! A limb after a limb. And this is looking like Denmark still in it after all.
IDK, he's alone on the point. It's only him trying to get out. And what looked like a great recontest potential. Shax coming up big again. Denmark are still in it.
Both these teams not giving up any freebies. South Korea, they took a big risk there, and it almost paid off.
Now, South Korea moving up here onto the high ground. They want to take an early fight. They have plenty of ults in the bank, especially those double tank ults coming up. They know Kellix will not have beat. Mono going to drop that Supercharger extremely aggressively.
It's very early Supercharger. Molt already down. Haxel going to have room to work with. However, Denmark, front line still okay if they can stay behind the shield. Haxel diving in, looking for anything. Not quite able to get it. But now, still not done. Meteor Strike, waiting, down. And still, Denmark sustaining. Scalar about to use Coalescence. Shax low, Shax down. They've already busted the goal.
Kellix died with beat. He died with beat, TP. They didn't have it available. And South Korea cleaning them up.
The support economy for Denmark just crashed.
South Korea just going to be holding here on this high ground once again. Architect, the Death Blossom available, and we see Kellix getting the speed here. Troven was just waiting for the Flux, but he gets stunned. He gets the beat just in time, but he goes down. Good focus fire from Architect, denying the beat.
Just a shot to the back. Fisher, the Meteor Strike from Architect, has already decimated Denmark. And you compare between the two teams, South Korea got through point B much quicker by this point. Denmark about to be facing that very scary final fight opportunity soon.
And they're in such an aggressive hold here. This position is so brutal. As Shax, he loses the 1v1 to Architect.
Architect, risks being taken, but the rewards are being reaped.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally Reaper.
I wasn't even going for that.
Very well played. Denmark having to wait for Shax to get back up. Gonna get halted off the high ground. Now to go for this rotation. That's an important halt from Mono. Putting them off the high ground, making them go to the low ground. That's a very important halt.
Denmark moving on in. Molescent out early from Scalar. And Architect once more finds Kalex. Architect has just been the assassin in the back of Denmark every single time. Denmark, though, presence here on the point. Fighting this back. It's Molt and Henningsen. But the front line from South Korea.
Choi and Mono! Choi and Mono, they're cleaning it up, CP. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. The spawns are far away. We're about to get to OT.
Well, you see Kalex trying to delay as long as possible. Last little bit delay. Fisher is in, but Fisher thrown up into the air, slammed on down. Overtime ticking away. Denmark desperately trying to make anything happen. South Korea, they're in firm control, but Denmark's spawns are close. So we'll see how long Denmark can continue to delay. As Henningsen falling in the back. Architect once more, just devastating Denmark. And that's going to be it. South Korea takes Junkertown.
Choi and Mono combining there after the fight had broken down. They play around the supercharger. We've talked about Choi a lot, but we haven't given a lot of love to Mono, a very consistent tank player. That supercharger coming up big right when they needed it. South Korea now up 2-0.
And also, what a run by Architect. There at the end, where anytime Denmark is like, hey, we'd like to have a clean 6-on-6 fight, Architect simply comes in and says, no, actually, not going to happen. South Korea, they are up 2 right now on Denmark. We'll see if Denmark can bring it back after the break.
BlizzCon 2019 is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. Intel, the official CPU partner of BlizzCon. Cisco, the official networking partner of BlizzCon. And by HyperX. We're all gamers.
It's said often in Overwatch that a game is closer than the score reflects. And if you're just tuning in now and go, oh, South Korea's up 2-0, that makes sense. Well, let me tell you, the game has been far, far closer than that.
It's been almost a knife's edge at times. It's if Kellex hadn't lost that beat that last fight, if we had so many different moments, just one pick going a different way, Denmark could currently be up. They could be 2-1. It could be a variety of different scorelines, but Denmark has putting up quite a performance here versus South Korea.
South Korea, they've been fighting for their lives, and yes, they are currently ahead, but this has been a fierce battle between both of these teams thus far. But now Denmark, they're out of chances. Should they lose once more, it's going to be South Korea advancing to a date with destiny, a rematch with the USA.
Backs up against the wall. It's Denmark do or die. Can they make it? Can they do it? It's time to decide because their fate is on the line.
Very much so, but we have a substitution coming in, and that's right. It's Carpe back in for Haxel. So now, this is what we've been seeing from South Korea, where they've been interchanging these two players quite a bit.
And it makes sense because now we're on Volskaya. Volskaya map where you might be seeing a lot more Hanzo, maybe a little more Widow. You want to be playing around the flanks, taking the high ground, and that's Carpe's specialty. Getting those pop-off moments.
Well, and also, don't forget, even though it didn't quite work out in the end, Carpe also let South Korea play some off-meta things in the group stage, and at times his Hanzo was very, very scary.
Now hopping into Volskaya, because remember yesterday we did not have Assault. Today we do. If you are confused, it's because we have Assault today. It is going to be Volskaya.
And I do think this is something that favors South Korea, just because you look through the annals and history of Overwatch, Korean teams have been very good at Assault, far better than the West at various different points in the game.
South Korea on this offense. You see Architect and Carpe just looking for the scout, using the TP to get back fast. They're going to see what Denmark's playing. They're going to get the Hanzo. They're going to get the Pharah. IDK moving to that Mercy to get the pocket for Architect. They're going to look to go above the shield. Denmark, they know they want to hold close. They know when to go into the South Korea front line, and that's why Architect and Carpe are just looking to get around them.
And while you're looking at Architect, that means you might not be looking at Carpe, but IDK gets picked again.
He got slammed. He got halt accretion. IDK actually got slammed.
IDK's had a very rough time this series, getting picked early, whether it be on Lucio or on Mercy just there. It makes Denmark have a bit more of an advantage right now on this defense.
South Korea needing to play it slow. They don't have IDK there just yet to get the pocket. Now going to be back. Kellex going down, getting hooked.
Kellex taken on down. This opportunity for South Korea set up by Choi. The pick threats from South Korea. Palpitol as Fisher gets a freeze. Denmark trying to control things out. Fisher super low, healed back up. Great healing in from Scalar as Shax moves forward. Shax doing even more.
Fisher locking them down there with the freeze, keeping both of the tanks just in line, but Architect and Choi finding some frags. They might not be able to take it directly to point, but this is good for South Korea. They have the closer spawns. Denmark, they need to come back.
And this is, as you say, this is very good momentum for South Korea still. Denmark, yeah, they delayed for a bit, but 2.5 minutes left as you get on point A. That is good momentum for South Korea. Now, the question I ask to you is that if South Korea does not get point B on the first push, do they change their setup?
Yes. Immediately. You immediately change that setup. You don't want to be having to use this until last, especially with Shax going to the Widow, putting Skeleton on and Shax finding Carpe early. There is a res available for IDK. Can they deny it? No, they can't. So Carpe going to be back up. That undo button just being hit real quick.
Does mean that won't be up for a bit into this fight. And South Korea, should they lose this next fight, it's going to set them back a lot.
South Korea looking for the injury. Remember, it's on Fissure right here. It's on Shax to get a pick, or on Fissure to get a good blizzard. Here comes the Nano. He's looking for the barrage. Denmark splitting the boot from Kellex, keeping him up.
Architect having real trouble finding targets here. The Nano about to be gone. What a split coming in from Denmark. And now you look towards Fissure. Fissure has the blizzard for when South Korea commits on point. What is Fissure going to do with the hold on? Off on the other side. Shax gets caught. Here comes Fissure on the blizzard. Denmark looking very wounded right now. The blizzard needs to be huge, and Denmark struggling, Architect over the top, and South Korea potentially about to set a very quick time.
And once again, Choi putting that whole hog to good use. Everyone cleaned up. The whole hog pushing all of Denmark away. Fisher had to Hail Mary the Blizzard, and it was just so far. They had to force any cooldowns. That's a fast time for South Korea on Volskaya.
People doubted the hog.
They doubted it.
They wondered,
I doubted it.
Is it good? Well, you know what? Your history of doubting things sometimes in question. Remember A10 on the Reaper?
Well, that was before it was good.
But then a week after.
Yeah, but I don't think he knew ahead of time. I think he just wanted to play Reaper.
You think that's what it was? Just for a happy coincidence.
I mean, Reaper is my favorite hero. He has 2 guns and he's very cool, you know?
Okay, that's fair. It's incredibly fair. But this puts Denmark in a very, very tough spot, where not only do they need to finish out here at Volskaya, they need to set at least a time of about 2 minutes if they want to make it realistic to win the back and forth against Denmark. And the problem here, as you look at it, is that Denmark, they are facing elimination. So I think really this first battle, incredibly crucial to Denmark's odds going forward.
So now Denmark going to be on the offense. Look at the time bank for South Korea, over 4 minutes. That's pretty fast. It's not the fastest we've ever seen, but it is very fast.
Not a speed run, but still something to be proud of.
A speed walk.
Speed walk.
Perhaps a speed walk.
Okay. Well, that's me saying I'm running in most situations. South Korea.
They're going to be setting up here. Look at this composition. They're going to be running again. Architect on the Pharah IDK, Hawking with the Mercy, and then Carpe on the Widow. So very slow play for him, all based around picks. The front line for South Korea have to be extremely careful. They don't want to get isolated and run over.
On the same note for Denmark, even though they're running a double pick threat here, they still have to respect Choi as they round corners, and Shaxx essentially about to swap.
I don't think so. I mean, it's Pharah Widow. No. Pharah Widow for South Korea. I don't think Shaxx has to swap. I think if anything, Shaxx wants to stay. Shaxx, a very good hit scan player. I think he definitely wants to take these duels.
So Shaxx looking for it, but a key thing for Denmark, they can't stay here and play footsie with South Korea for too long. They need to find a way in and fast because of the time pressure that they're under.
Here comes the jump shot. Can Shaxx find anything? Finds Architect!
Well, the answer is yes. Shaxx is good on Widow. Takes on Architect. The res is there, though, so they're still going to need more.
Though Henningsen going a little too aggressive. The hook going to come out for Treopen as well. South Korea, they're going to be fine despite that early pick. Got a little too ambitious there for Denmark. They need to play a little bit more slow. Yes, the aggression needs to come out, but Henningsen needs to be careful.
Well, it's kind of putting them in a very difficult situation where on one hand, this sort of composition has to be a little bit more patient, but that's also why they're swapping. They're going to something where they can go in a little bit quicker because time is ticking.
So now Denmark swapping their strategy, deciding instead of worrying about the Widow duels and getting rid of the Pharah Mercy, they just want to take this fight to point. They want to roll over the tanks for South Korea.
Meanwhile, Carpe in the back, uncontested for now, just looking for any opportunity. On the sidelines, a halt. They gave a shot, but it wasn't up an Architect over the top. They were not looking for Architect. Takes down 2, and the resurrection is there. He's back in the fray.
They don't even punish IDK. IDK giving actually just a, I'm going to res, what are you going to do? Drops the res right in front of them. They weren't keeping track of Architect.
Sometimes the unexpected move is the best move, and it works out for South Korea here. 2 minutes left to go. And this is Denmark's tournament life on the line.
Shaxx has gone back to Widow. They decided to stop the Widow. Shaxx maybe not knowing what to play. Denmark maybe being a little flustered right now. Deciding you're going to go back to the Widow, try to get the picks here once again. But you see how Architect and IDK are playing? They're playing just around the geometry, near those high pillars, near the high buildings. Shaxx doesn't have a good sight line for that at all.
It's putting a lot on Shaxx to find a key pickoff, something that is not always found. Meanwhile, South Korea, a minute 40 away from their rematch with the USA, and Molf almost falls.
South Korea not a lot of ults on the board though. Fisher getting close to the Blizzard. There's gonna be the Coalescence engaging here. South Korea tanks, they're getting hurt a lot. Badosian using the nano just to keep Choi alive.
Architect playing well, got rockets over the top. Frontline Denmark doing damage of their own. Badosian and Choi down. Architect, very long range barrage here. Not quite the most effective, but South Korea is still in an okay spot to defend.
Oh, with that res, that was huge. That was absolutely huge. Carpe gonna find Fisher there as well. No Blizzard. Most importantly, the Blizzard not gonna be in the field. Denmark, they can't get staggered anymore. They need to regroup.
Carpe holding the back. Oh, under the Moira pressure, does not blink.
South Korea held some great healing from Badosian earlier in that fight. Fisher has not had the chance to invest the Blizzard yet, but this is his time. There's no ults on the field for South Korea. Choi is not on Sigma, so he's not going to gobble it up. You need to look for a halt Blizzard, or maybe just a Blizzard on its own. You just have to find something.
In Denmark, you know you're behind on time, but you need to stay alive. Could be the final fight for Choi in real danger, but oh, Carpe catches Scalar. Off on the other side, Choi still around. 25 seconds left for Denmark. They invest the beat, they find IDK, who's still moving in. The Blizzard from Fisher, so incredibly good.
Exactly what they needed, the halt Blizzard. South Korea may have gotten that pick, Carpe may have gotten the flank, but once Korea was committed there, the halt Blizzard comes out. Denmark not going to be held on first, but look at the time burned off the clock.
What this means that Denmark, no matter what, is going to be dealing with a slower time bank. Likely a radically slower time bank. And also, the bigger threat that they have to worry about here is the fact that if they don't finish with any time remaining, they're not going to get another attack.
Denmark going to be keeping on this composition too. Shaxx on the Widow, maybe wanted to use the Emperor Sight. Nope, never mind. Going to be going back to the Reaper, so no Emperor Sight, which I think is a smart play here, because it is tough to find the angles as Widow right now, especially when South Korea has made these swaps to the Doom and the Reaper. It's easy to pressure him.
I think Denmark, they really need to take this fight. If South Korea takes us here, their chances of bringing this one back just plummet into the abyss.
Denmark moving from the flank. Both tankles are going to be available here, but South Korea, they have a Coalescence available.
Supercharger used by South Korea. Oh, the Architect gets caught! Shaxx once more! Getting taken down by Carpe on the other side. South Korea bringing themselves back up. The Coalescence for Dosen as they go forward. And this is now very, very grim for Denmark. This was the fight they needed to win. And now it's nothing but desperation.
They have one more chance here, ZP, in terms of not being at an OT finish, maybe for Volskaya. Fisher, if Fisher can get this Blizzard, then there is a hope. IDK is not close to beat. Badosian just invested Coalescence. This is the win condition for Denmark in this upcoming fight. If they don't get it then it's likely, if they finish it all, an OT finish.
Denmark has been on a miracle run all weekend long, but we might be witnessing the end of the road. They cannot make this work here. Supercharger, it's in reserve. Scalar's built up the Coalescence, a minute 25 left. And now it's time to move. They drop the Supercharger, the Coal is out, and Scalar connects! Badosian out of the fight early, and this is exactly what Denmark was looking for, and they're likely now to finish with time remaining.
What a beautiful aggressive engage for Denmark and South Korea. I think they were waiting for the Blizzard. I think they were hoping they were going to engage with the Blizzard, and they weren't expecting such an aggressive Supercharger.
Yeah, Fisher used the Blizzard at the very end after everyone's gone and taken the point.
I mean, look how those tanks were positioned. They just were not ready at all for the wall to come out.
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
Denmark on their last life against South Korea. And now that they've bought an extra round, what they have to do is something they did not do just a round ago, which is set a quick time on point A. How do you expect them to change things up, if at all, faced with this situation?
May Reaper. They're just going to play May Reaper, maybe even Doom Reaper, and they're going to try to take it directly to point. They don't have time to do any fancy footwork. They can't be looking for picks. They can't play the sniper duel. Their best bet is to take this fight to point.
And in a sense, they just have to go on the front line. They kind of have to hope.
They're doing the flank teleporter. Oh. They're going to go out here from the other side. They're going to remove the high ground from Carpe and Badosian.
This is what happens when you are facing elimination. You pull out the trick plays. You do the unexpected. And South Korea, they must have caught on by now.
No, they definitely know. They have the scout. You see where they've rotated completely away from Denmark. And Shaxx actually using the TP up, now going to go Widow. Deciding now going to pressure from main while the rest of Denmark go to point.
Unexpected Widow is something that has been very big in Overwatch history. Molto under real pressure. The hook almost seals his fate, but he's sealed back up. Choi frozen on the other side by Fisher. However, Walls happens, Carpe wins the window duel, Shax is down! Carpe now unchecked! And Denmark in real trouble here. Architect in the skies, Carpe right over them. With Fisher falling, it's going to look like Denmark will be held.
Carpe just bringing out the SMG. All of Denmark getting cleaned up. Carpe being the difference maker again. Finding that early pick. But Denmark, they're not going to get any ticks for first. South Korea in the driver's seat to finish it off the 3-0, but Denmark, they have a chance. They get the tie.
It's as we say, drawable.
4 minutes, 19 seconds for South Korea. We have seen crazier holds.
What a wild world it would be if Denmark was able to hold off South Korea for 4 minutes and 19 seconds. And the unfortunate part, they got no progress on the point. It is not a winnable scenario for them. But remember too, 4:19 on a hold, that is more time than what you normally get on your first attack. And South Korea completely speed ran Denmark on their attack before, so there's going to need to be a massive difference in performance for Denmark as they fight for their tournament life.
They have no room for errors at all. Even if they improve their defense tenfold, just one error. South Korea knows they need only a single tick on the point. They have so much room to build up for 6 ults, to just wait for the perfect fight. Denmark are going to have to ascend to the next plane for this defense.
Denmark needs the defense of their lives. Meanwhile, South Korea, they got to be feeling it right now. We're almost looking past Denmark, going Team USA, we want our rematch.
And I think that's what the arena wants too. I think that's what everyone wants at the World Cup, but it would be such a storyline if Denmark could get this tie and maybe bring it back.
We'd be here for an even longer period of time. We'd be loving every second. South Korea, moving out here, Architect on the Farah. It looks like they might be swapping out based on intel that's been given. Carpe over to the Hanzo. Architect, is he swapping? He is, the May.
Are they going to go May Reaper, or are they just going to stay with the Hanzo? Actually, they're sticking with this comp that they played in the past. They're getting the Batiste now, IDK onto the Batiste. They're going to play slow and hope that Carpe, and maybe even Badoshin, we've seen nearly Badoshin on the on-up, he's going to play Zen instead. So a lot of shield break potential, early hook coming out from Molfik, just gonna move the Immortality Field, that's it.
Immortality Field already down. Remember, Denmark must be perfect. Even a single pickoff here, if it is not rezzed by Kellex, could spell the doom by Miratricia, and Henningsen is down. The fall through the net, Fisher, what a response!
It was the anti from Scalar that saved it right there. IDK could have kept him alive as Fisher finds another, the res comes out. But Scalar getting that anti denied the chance for Choi or Mono to be healed. Fisher followed it up.
Denmark is staggered. They're running on fumes, but they are finding an extra reserve of energy. 3 minutes left for South Korea.
3 minutes to go, and IDK already has an Ant Matrix. That's a pretty brutal ult. They have to be careful there. But Fissure, with this Dragon Strike, can just zone the Ant Matrix. Make sure they can't even use it.
Bionade comes out early. They drop the Immortality Field, and it just saves Mono's life. Shax almost had to put the Dragon Strike right down the middle.
It's beautiful. Fissure doing exactly right. IDK didn't have the Immortality Field and fine. He completely removed the ability for the Ant Matrix to do anything.
The double snipers of Denmark have been overwhelmed so far. Molf gets hooked on in. The Hog v Hog battle. Mono is down. And now South Korea starting to pick apart Denmark. Denmark, they're on the ropes. They're hoping to hold in. They do get the resurrection. It's not quite over yet as 2 minutes remain.
Badoshin going to have transmit South Korea. They're so split right now. Choi, once again, he's in far distant lands. I don't know where he's at. Badoshin on the other flank too. All of South Korea are split. They need to wait for everyone to get up. IDK keeping Badoshin alive here on the flank.
Fisher working on the outskirts. Shax is down. Choi was able to find him, but Fisher responded there. Then here comes Molf. A whole hog on the other side of the fight. Deals with Badoshin. And Denmark, anytime one falls, they respond in turn.
South Korea, they're just too split. They need to regroup. Molfik pushing Badoshin off the map, isolating IDK from the Transcendence. That's gigantic. But South Korea here just need to regroup.
They have held for so long here so far. 1 minute 40 left for South Korea. Denmark, could they be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel?
4 ults up for Denmark. But look at South Korea. Their ult bank is picking up. They have the Blizzard. Most importantly, if this Blizzard can catch someone, if it can catch even 2 members, there's not a lot of defensives on the field for Denmark.
Well, they start the Dragon Strike. Give Architect a little bit more room. The Blizzard is down. But Denmark, they're able to rotate around. Molf takes down IDK. Denmark, they weather the cold. South Korea is about to be
Toy. He's getting staggered. He needs to reset right now. There's a minute left on the clock. The fight is still ongoing. South Korea, they're committing. If this fight runs long and they lose anyone else, it could be disastrous.
I don't believe I'm witnessing right now. Shax is under pressure, able to shake it. South Korea wounded across the board. Carpe's down! Shax actually got him!
There's the whole hog. There's the supercharger. They're trying to find Higgins. Shax finds another!
Shax on the back. He's 1 HP. Look at the madman over to the side. What an unbelievable performance. And now South Korea potentially going to get held. This series, it might not be over yet.
One last push. Denmark on the cusp of tying this, taking us to yet another map. They have Ant Matrix. They have Transcendence. Carpe swap to the Widow. He wants to take the duel. They put Architect onto the Hanzo.
South Korea, what do you have? And down goes Mono! Mono is down! And out there's Shax! They've almost done it! Denmark, you're so close to the miracle hold! South Korea, wounded, battered, and Architect falls! They're on the other side!
Transcendence gonna come out, they can't touch!
It's a draw!
They take it to another map! Denmark, please!
Denmark, the Immortals, they will not fall! This series, we still got like that. We'll be at the end of the jump. Denmark is setting Overwatch World Cup history. What an incredible series of holds every time South Korea tries to finish off Denmark, tries to secure their berth to fight Team USA, Denmark says no, we're not done yet.
Mr. Shax, please thank Mr. Shax. But now it is time. We have no more draws left on the board, ZP. We are control from here on out.
That's right. From here on out, it's going to be every map on a game mode that cannot be a draw. And it also means that Denmark, they still have to win 3 in a row. We are still looking at a reverse sweep. And I'm just going to remind everyone that might be tuning in, it says 2-0. That doesn't even remotely tell the story of what has transpired here today.
Numbers can lie sometimes. Sometimes the numbers can lie.
But now we move forward into Oasis. South Korea, they have tried map after map to put Denmark away. We will see if now is the time, or perhaps this is the start of Denmark's great return.
We are getting into Oasis. Control from here on out. No draws. Denmark the immortal. If they're going to continue to be that immortal, need to win.
I don't think it is hyperbole to say that if Denmark were somehow to bring this back, to upset South Korea in this set.
I'm going to crowd surf.
Yes,
I'll do it. Crowd surf.
It would arguably be the greatest set in Overwatch history. This has been a wild ride.
So here we go. After 2 draws, South Korea still up 2 maps. Denmark fighting for their life here in the Overwatch World Cup. Can they bring it back here?
We'll see how much both teams have left in the tank here this afternoon in Anaheim, live from BlizzCon. As Denmark, they get to work. Fisher, Doom v Doom. Both teams feeling each other out. Denmark a little bit deep, and oh man, they took a whole lot of damage to start things out. Denmark able to heal back up. They're in an okay spot. Fisher landing some punches on the other side, but Architect gonna be the first to strike. Shax out of the fight. He will not be the hero this time.
And Carpe finding these picks, going around the flank after that early pick from Architect. South Korea winning the first fight here, taking the first control, and some excellent play from Architect and Carpe there, playing the flanks and getting the early picks.
South Korea, first control of the map. Denmark setting up once more. And Denmark, we'll see if they go up the middle or take the right side.
Denmark moving in, getting ready to trade this coalescence aggressively with Badoshan, but they have to be careful of the meteor strike. They have to be aware that Architect is so close to that ult.
Coalescence is out here from both Moiras. And where's Architect? Architect getting ready to hop on down, looking for Henningsen, gonna get him, moves on forward. South Korea still in firm control.
Architect gonna be backing up, but Architect getting the most value out of that meteor strike, dropping it directly into the meat is IDK, cleaning up a lot of those kills there. 40% on the board. South Korea about to have that flux. Kellex holding on to the beat. Fisher and Shax, these are going to be the playmakers. These are going to be the playmakers for Denmark to open up this next fight. They need to get a flank. They need to find an early pick.
They certainly need something. Carpe hiding in the corner. The old Reaper spot now teleporting into the fight. Middle of the flux, looking for the Death Blossom. Denmark responding with the beat. Still staying alive. South Korea later beat. Carpe into the middle. Death Blossom a little bit tonight, but Henningsen down. Couldn't get away. And once more, South Korea, a better engage, a later beat.
And Henningsen thinking that he could get max value of that supercharger later in the fight, but it was immediately taken down. Hughes immediately downed. Mono's holding on to his. That is a huge fight for South Korea. They traded ults, they burnt time off the clock, and they held on to the supercharger.
South Korea in the driver's seat. Denmark one fight away from losing the first round on Oasis, from being put on match point. And now the Coalescence in early from South Korea. Architect, meteor strike to the back as Choi takes down 2. Right in the middle of it, backed up by Badoshan. And the round goes to South Korea.
That's a very dominant round from South Korea. 100-0, not a single bit of control for Denmark. Their life wavering in the World Cup. Architect and Carve saying, I'm not going to lose. I'm not losing here today.
We've called Denmark the Immortals in this series for their ability to survive what should have been lethal situations. But now it truly comes down to the wire. The final round here on Control. Do they live to fight another round, or does South Korea seal them away?
So now, Denmark and South Korea coming out here once more for this mid fight, potentially determining, definitely determining Denmark's life in the rest of this World Cup. South Korea going to be playing once again the Doom Reaper, just looking to take this very meta fight, looking to take the fight into the front line. Denmark going to be mirroring that. As they move towards the point though, no high ground control for Denmark.
South Korea going to value the high ground. It's going to give Architect a good vantage point, and he's just going to dive in, looking for Henningsen. Once more, Fisher already in danger. Henningsen under real pressure, and Henningsen falls!
Mono pushing aggressively. Architect going around the flank here. Shaxx will find Mono, but Scalar down. There's a lot of sustain off the field.
South Korea keeping up the pressure, and we've seen almost a change in strategy. Their goal right now, many fights in a row, pressure Henningsen, get the Orisa out of the fight early, and it is working.
Denmark losing the first flip to South Korea, but Ocean's already going to have that coalescence available. Look at the Architect ult charge once again for the Meteor Strike, ahead of Fisher, getting a lot more damage early. They're going to use that to their advantage here. Going to set up that Hulk Meteor Strike. Here comes Denmark, going very aggressive.
Shaxx to the back, looking for value off the flank, has to shift out early. South Korea, Choi in danger. Choi getting very, very low. As Shaxx moves forward, South Korea pushed back a bit. They need to give Choi time to recover. Shaxx going for the flank again, looking for Moira, and Moira falling, but doesn't have the fight. Carpe and Shaxx trading out. Architect, though, getting to the back, getting a little bit more. Henningsen already down, and South Korea striking down Denmark.
And while Shaxx is flanking, while Shaxx is pressuring Architect and coming through the back line, the Denmark front line just getting run over. Came a little too aggressive, and they're still keeping the pressure onto Molvik and Henningsen. 50%, over 50% here on the board for South Korea.
Denmark, for all their struggles, for all their heroic comebacks in the series, they are running out of time. Potentially as little as 2 fights left. We'll see what they do. Fisher, over. Meteor Strike ready. Supercharge down from South Korea. You see the Death Blossom in from Shaxx. Does not do as much as he would like. Only the Supercharger. Carpe moved away!
Beautiful
move! Kellex keeping Denmark in it. Henningsen dropping the Supercharger, and it sets up Wolf! Nice stuff from Wolf! And off the flux, Denmark survives.
Molvik and Fisher getting 3 each, and it was Kellex there that kept them in it, that kept them alive. Because of that boop, the Death Blossom was not able to get anything. IDK had to commit the beat. He beat it so early, which means that as long as Molvik survives, as long as Denmark lives, they can flux.
Denmark, though, must be perfect. A single lost team fight here might spell the end of them now. And South Korea, if they win, USA will be in their sights. Carpe finds Scalar! The healing is taken down, but Wolf wins the Sigma fight. Shaxx to the back. It's 4-on-4. And South Korea a little bit more tanky, but Fisher got mono, and South Korea not in the best spot. Carpe still trying to pressure.
It's Carpe versus the roll. Ocean's there to back him up, but they can't win this fight. The shields are in his face. They need to back up. They don't want to get staggered. Carpe going to be rotating here to the flank. Denmark's time bank, their control bank ticking up. Hope is still alive. Are they really going to be immortal?
If they could win this round, we would go on. South Korea looking for a Carpe. Stunned, thrown back a bit. Start things out, the Meteor Strike in from Fisher. Isolated, heavily damaged, but also going to finish him. Denmark, Shaxx is down! Denmark, they're out of damage! South Korea now in a fantastic spot. And Denmark, it is now do or die. They'll get one more opportunity to come back in, and that is it.
Kellex gonna get finished off. Still a lot of control here for Denmark. Both their tangles about to be up. Shaxx about to have the Death Blossom. South Korea had to invest ults into that fight.
The problem for Denmark, though, is that this is not a high-quality attempt. It's already 90%. They need to get people to the point. They cannot play footsie in the way that they might like. 93% South Korea dreaming of facing USA. Wolf opening up the flux. The beat dropped by Kellex. South
IDK
Korea.
into that beat.
Coming against Shaxx. Wolf on the Choi. It's 5-on-5. Both teams down a key spot. And you see Architect in the back. It's down both. South Korea. They're about to do it. Denmark. Immortals they may be, but they are sealed up. South Korea about to go take on Team USA.
Beautiful performance there from South Korea. A much different team than we saw yesterday, but Denmark, we have to give Denmark credit there. Denmark the immortal, maybe swing in the end, but 2 draws in a row, taking control. They played their heart out.
You can see the exhaustion from Denmark, but I will tell you this. There is no shame They put on a show. And one thing about the Overwatch World Cup, even if you don't win a medal, your performance can certainly get you into the Overwatch League.
And I have to say, Triobin still being monsters throughout the series, but the players on Denmark, there's so much individual talent. So much individual talent on Denmark. It was the superior team cohesion with South Korea that really won it out in the end.
Unbelievable series, and to think we still have 5 more matches left to go.
We have so much more. It felt like an eternity already, a good eternity.
But now, we just reflect on what we're looking at, and I wonder what Team USA thinks of South Korea now.
I mean, I know what Sinatra thinks.
Yes.
I know what Raucus thinks. They're saying easy. They're still saying easy back there. They're very confident boys.
That's what I expect. Sinatra, pretty confident, is what I'll say. Confident.
And you need those confidence. I mean, he was the MVP of the Overwatch League season. He was also with the winner of the Overwatch League Season 2.
Well, to give us a little bit more insight, we are going to go to Danny on the floor at the victory moment, presented by Coca-Cola.
ZP on the Vest, thank you very much. What is up, everybody? I am here joined by Budosin from Team South Korea. Everybody, make some noise for Budosin and Team South Korea one more time. Congratulations. Now, yesterday you guys lost your first ever defeat in the Overwatch World Cup, but today you guys came back with a big win against Denmark. Now, what sort of adjustments did you guys make prior to today's match? 자, 어제 처음으로 한국팀이 오버워치 월드컵에서 첫 패배를 맛보시게 됐는데 또 오늘은 그래도 들어오셔서 덴마크의 경기에서 좋은 모습을 보여줘서 승리를 거두셨습니다. 어제 경기 또 오늘 들어오기 전까지는 좀 어떤 좋을 점을 찾아서 어떤 걸 좀 많이 고쳤다고 생각을 하시나요?
일단 어제 국가대표에서 첫 패배를 한 거는 처음이라 기분이 좀 안 좋긴 했는데 그래도 다 끝나고 호텔 들어가서 이제 애들끼리랑 감독님이랑 잘 조율해서 이제 그냥 쉬운 걸로 하자. 머리 쓰니까 잘 안 된다 해가지고 쉬운 걸로 가자 해서 잘 된 것 같아요.
So it is true that we did suffer our first ever loss in the Overwatch World Cup. So it did take a little bit of toll on us. We did feel a little bit sad, but after the matches, we went back to the hotel. All the players and our coaching staff, we really talked about, and our result was that we didn't really feel like we should have used our heads too much. So we just went with something easier, something that we were confident in, and I feel like that's how we won against Denmark. Now, you guys are moving into the semi-finals now, which is going to be, you guys will be facing off against USA. Budosin, how confident are you that you guys could beat USA this time around? 자, 준결승전 저번에 어제 했던 미국과의 리매치가 있는데요. 부도신 선수 얼마나 자신감 있으십니까?
어제는 좀 말도 안 되게 졌는데 오늘은 3대 0으로 탈탈 털어버리겠습니다.
Alright, so yes, yesterday we got wrecked by USA 3-0, but this time around we will make sure that we will defeat them 3-0. Perfect score for South Korea. Budosin, thank you so much. Now, before we head back to the casters, we have our super fan here who will be receiving a very special jersey signed by Budosin. Hi, what was your name?
Krista.
Krista, congratulations. Here is your jersey. And also, we cannot forget awkward hug time. 자, 포옹 한번 주세요. Thank you guys so much. Casters, take it away.
South Korea looking incredibly confident. And what else would you expect from a victory moment?
I mean, it's Budosin too. That guy has got confidence for spades. They may not have backed it up yesterday in the group stages, but they're looking like a very different team today. USA, they need to be on their toes. But I know that USA is coming in and they're thinking easy clap.
Well, our first match of the day was absolutely epic, but we're just getting started right after the break. Guess what? It's Netherlands taking on France.
The 2019 Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch World Cup. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch World Cup.